Chapter 418. It was still early, and the door to the private advisor's room was still closed. After knocking for a while, someone came to open the door and asked faintly, "Who are you?" It was a woman in her 40s or 50s. She was probably the private advisor's wife. "We're looking for the private advisor," Zhao Yun explained. "He's sleeping. You know how to disturb people by coming so early." The woman yawned and looked sleepy. Zhao Yun's mouth twitched. This woman was really interesting. It was already 7 or 8 o'clock, but it was not early. People in ancient times went to bed early, so it was reasonable to say that they would get up early. "We're looking for the private advisor for business." "Then come in first and wait. My husband will get up later, so he needs to sleep well." Zhao Yun and Zhao Wensheng had no choice but to wait. After half an hour, the private advisor woke up. As soon as he saw Zhao Wensheng, he asked, "Why are you here today?" "Let me tell you, I've already helped you with your niece's matter. She's fine now. Don't look for me for anything else." "But private advisor, you didn't intervene in my niece's matter." "It was the heir who helped," Zhao Wensheng said weakly. He didn't dare to be too strong in front of the heir. "Then in the end, your niece is fine, isn't it? Without the heir, didn't I take action?" The private advisor replied very calmly. He seemed to be used to dealing with this kind of thing. Zhao Yun pulled her fifth uncle and asked him to come over. "Private advisor, I'm his niece. My fifth uncle was confused and thought that I committed a crime. But in the end, I didn't do anything. The case was investigated by the authorities and I was cleared. So whether the heir was involved or not, you didn't have to do anything. Isn't it bad to swallow the 20 taels of silver now?" "What do you mean by swallow the 20 taels of silver?" "Little girl, it's wrong of you to say that. You sent the silver over. Did I beg you to give it to me? Now you want to go back? How can you do that? If you were locked up, it would still be possible for you to go back. But now that you've been released, the 20 taels will definitely not be given to you." There was no reason for him to spit out what he had eaten. "Does that mean you won't give it to me?" Zhao Yun remained patient. "Give what? Hurry up and leave, otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Grand Master, let's have a good talk. We are just ordinary people who don't know anything. But you can't treat us like this. After all, we still have to do business in the future. If you don't return the 20 taels of silver to us today, I will go to the government and make a fuss. That's why I'm abusing my authority and accepting bribes. Although they might not be able to punish you for your crimes, they would at least investigate you. They wouldn't leave you unpunished even though the people were indignant, right? As for whether your background is clean or not, you know it yourself. If the county magistrate doesn't care, then I will continue to appeal. I don't believe that the Great Zhou country's laws are like waste paper, without any practical use at all." When Zhao Yun said these words, the private advisor was also a bit shocked. A little girl without any power. Facing a government official like him, she wasn't afraid at all. Her words were clear and logical as she argued for what was right. Only, he definitely wasn't willing to hand over the 20 taels of silver. Chapter 419. The private advisor looked at Zhao Yun with some pride and arrogance. He didn't take Zhao Yun's threat seriously at all. Although this little girl was a little different, she still didn't have any power. How could an ordinary person know the principle of officials protecting each other? Zhao Yun frowned tightly. Seeing that the private advisor still didn't intend to return it, she said, "Go ahead. Go, the little girl is waiting for you. You can sue me," the private advisor urged. Zhao Wensheng pulled Zhao Yun indicating that they should forget about it. "Okay, then you wait." Zhao Yun and Zhao Wensheng left. Both of them lowered their heads, and their mood wasn't very good. This private advisor was too much, wasn't he? Didn't he know how much 20 taels of silver was to a country bumpkin? How black-hearted he was to covet the commoner's money. "Yun, girl, I think it's better to forget about it. Fifth uncle, 20 taels of silver were taken by him for nothing. How much of a loss will we suffer? I'll think of another way." Seeing the private advisor's reaction, she knew that if she went to the government office to complain, it would probably be in vain. After all, the county magistrate would definitely protect him if he did something wrong. Otherwise, the private advisor wouldn't have so much confidence. The two of them left the private advisor's residence and went to eat breakfast first. It was the breakfast stall that Zhao Yun saw before. The two of them ordered a plate of fried dumplings, 2 bowls of thin porridge, and 2 side dishes. The fried dumplings were filled with meat, and the total cost was only 12 copper coins. Zhao Yun estimated that the cost was around 7 or 8 copper coins, so selling this breakfast made them 5 copper coins. Small profits but quick turnover. Selling more in the morning made a lot of money. "Auntie, it's been so long. Your stall still hasn't been transferred out?" Speaking of this, the woman sighed and said, yes, I'll be worried to death if I don't transfer it out. My wife is about to give birth. The woman's brows were tightly knitted, and it was obvious that she was very anxious. Zhao Yuner smiled and said, Auntie, the rent is so high, and the annual rent is so expensive. Ordinary people can't afford it. If you lower the price a little, there will naturally be people willing to come over. When Zhao Yuner said this, the woman felt that it was true. But the rent can't be too low. Otherwise, I'll suffer a loss. Auntie, it's better than you not being able to transfer out when the time comes, right? It was better to lower the price a little. How about this, Auntie, if you are sincere, you can transfer it to me. As for the price, I will give you 1 tael of silver for the sublease. In the future, I will give you 800 copper coins for the annual rent. Miss, aren't you bargaining a little too much? The woman was clearly a little unwilling. Auntie, although the price is a bit high, you can't drag it on like this. How about this? I'll give you another 500 copper coins. Leave the things on your stall to me. Anyway, you won't have much use for them. Instead, they'll take up space and get in the way. The woman pondered for a moment. If she wasn't in a hurry to transfer, she definitely wouldn't be willing to let go of such a price. Miss, all right then. Seeing that you're a good person, I can give you the stall at this price. But you have to give me the money in 2 days. You can't say that you owe me first. Zhao Yuner smiled and said, no problem. I'll bring the money over tomorrow. Let's sign the contract. Zhao Yuner wanted to prevent the woman from regretting her decision, so she couldn't avoid wrangling when the time came. There were many stalls nearby that helped illiterate people write documents. They were all scholars, and writing a document only cost 5 copper coins. Chapter 420. Zhao Yuner was still unwilling to save these 5 copper coins. The woman nodded and said, okay, Miss is also a straightforward person. Then let's talk when you come tomorrow. Okay. Zhao Yuner nodded. Zhao Yuner and Zhao Wenxing both ate the breakfast they ordered, leaving nothing behind. After eating and drinking to their heart's content, the two of them prepared to go back. Zhao Wenxing insisted that he would pay for breakfast, but Zhao Yuner refused. Fifth uncle, you've been busy with my affairs during this period of time. You don't have to fight with me to pay for breakfast. Otherwise, I definitely won't let you interfere next time. Zhao Yuner wanted Zhao Wenxing to keep more money. She spent a lot of money on her own brushes, ink, paper, and inkstone. Little girl Yuner, there's no reason for a junior to pay, we're different, fifth uncle. Don't be polite with me. You can just treat me next time. Okay then. Zhao Wenxing could only compromise. After Zhao Yuner paid, she took Xiao Mao, who was tied to the side, away. Zhao Wenxing followed. Yuner girl, are you going to come to Yang City to do this breakfast business in the future? Zhao Wenxing asked. He also heard the conversation between Zhao Yuner and the woman just now. Zhao Yuner nodded and said, yes, fifth uncle. This breakfast stall is quite profitable. I don't have any other way to earn money now, and we don't have any fields at home. It's quite good to come here to sell breakfast. Zhao Wenxing didn't know what to say. He just felt sorry for Zhao Yuner. It must be hard for a woman to come out in public. But she didn't have money, and she didn't have a good life. Compared to farming at home, Zhao Yuner's income from selling breakfast was much higher. Yuner, if you need any help in the future, tell fifth uncle. Fifth uncle will definitely help if he can. Zhao Yuner hooked up the corner of her mouth. Got it, fifth uncle. It's good that your parents are separated now. If there's any work, you can ask your mother and father to help you. And Ping, your grandmother can't say anything now. Zhao Wenxing sighed. When he learned that the third branch had separated from old Zhao's family, he was happy for his third brother and third sister-in-law. Old Zhao had a lot of family members, so there were a lot of things to do when they were together. The third branch was bullied even more. Alright. She didn't count on Zhao Pinger, but as for selling breakfast, if the business was good, it would be good to have Liang Jinqiao help. She could pay her mother's wages. When the time came, the third branch would have a source of income. Naturally, their lives would be much better. While the two of them were walking and chatting, they suddenly heard a cry of surprise. Help! Help! Someone fell into the water. What should we do? The person shouting for help was not far from Zhao Yuner. It was by a small river, surrounded by a group of people. By the river, a well-dressed woman was crying anxiously, but no one went into the water to save her. Yuner, let's go and take a look, Zhao Wenxing said. He was a warm-hearted person, so he could not leave her in the lurch. Okay. Zhao Yuner drove the little donkey to the side and stopped. There was a child struggling in the river, but no one went into the water to save him. Who were these people? Why did they leave him in the lurch? They all gathered around to watch the show, but they did not stop talking. They were probably afraid that the water was too deep. If they jumped in, they might not be able to save the child, and they might even implicate themselves. The woman cried miserably. Please, whoever can save my son, I will definitely reward you handsomely. Chapter 421. Sister-in-law, it's not that we don't want to help you save him. Everyone knows that there are water ghosts in the river. Every year, they will drag a few people down to be scapegoats. Your son was unlucky to fall into the river and become a scapegoat. If we help you, we might die too. Yeah, no matter how much you thank us, it's not as important as a human life. When the time comes, you have money but you don't have the life to spend it. Wouldn't that be a waste? That's right, that's right. I also heard that when someone fell into the river, another person went down to save him. In the end, the two people were dragged down by the water ghost and drowned. That's why we can't interfere with the water ghost's life. Otherwise, we will die too. No matter how much money you give me, I won't do it. People in ancient times were more superstitious, especially when it came to things like ghosts and gods. After confirming that there were water ghosts in the river, they didn't dare to go down. Zhao Yun frowned. She didn't believe in these things. The drowning in the river was probably just a coincidence. The river was close to the street. It was normal for people to accidentally fall in. Zhao Yun was about to jump down to save the child when Zhao Wenqing pulled her back. Yun let me do it. Zhao Wenqing said. If the girl jumped down, her body would be wet and her clothes would stick to her body. There were also men watching. It wouldn't be good if they saw it. Men in the countryside basically knew how to swim. Zhao Wenqing was no exception. When he was young, he would jump into the pond naked. However, when he grew up and started studying, he became quieter. All right then, fifth uncle. Be careful. Don't worry, it'll be fine. Seeing that someone had saved her child, the woman was immediately grateful. You guys are really good people. Auntie, don't cry. It'll be fine. Zhao Yun comforted her. Zhao Wenqing jumped into the river and swam towards the child. Then, he pulled the child out of the river. However, because he had been drowning in the river for too long, the child's face started to turn green. His stomach was bulging. It was obvious that he had swallowed a lot of water. When the onlookers saw this, they started to sigh. Sigh, it's useless to come up now. It's obvious that he can't hold on. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to keep my life. It's too late. The water ghost wants a scapegoat. No one can save him. When the woman heard what the people around her said, she cried even louder. My son, why are you so miserable? If you go, your mother will go with you. Looking at the woman crying her heart out, Zhao Yun hurriedly said, Auntie, please let me try. Artificial respiration could be performed after drowning, but the people of this era did not understand this. Therefore, most people would think that death was inevitable when they encountered such a situation. In fact, if they were rescued in time, they could still save their lives. The woman had no choice but to let Zhao Yun give it a try. It was better than waiting in vain. The onlookers watched curiously. They wanted to know how Zhao Yun would save the patient. She was about to die. Could it be that he could pull her back from the gates of hell? Zhao Yun laid the child flat. Then, she started to press on the child's chest. Then, she breathed into the child's mouth. The onlookers were stunned by Zhao Yun's series of actions. This woman must be crazy. Chapter 422. How could she get married in the future? Ordinary people would definitely not want this kind of woman. How embarrassing. Zhao Wenqing and the woman were also stunned by Zhao Yun's behavior. They really didn't understand why Zhao Yun started kissing while saving people. However, after everyone cursed in their hearts, they magically found that the child who was lying motionless on the ground suddenly coughed a few times and spat out a lot of water. The child also slowly woke up. Xian, how are you? Are you okay? The woman rushed over in surprise. The child vomited a few more times, but it was no big deal. Mother, don't worry, I'm fine. Lan Xian comforted the woman sensibly. Just now, when she was unconscious, she heard her mother calling in her ear, so she knew that her mother was probably worried to death. Xian, it's good that you're fine. Mother was worried to death. The woman pulled Lan Xian into her arms, as if she was afraid of losing him again. Zhao Yun watched from the side and sighed in relief. Fortunately, the child was saved. Otherwise, it would be sad to see the white-haired person send off the black-haired person. Zhao Wenqing couldn't help but ask curiously, Yun, what did you do just now to miraculously save the child? Zhao Yun smiled. She didn't know how to explain. This was artificial respiration. The ancient people didn't understand. Fifth uncle, I've seen people use this method before, so I remembered it. I was just trying it out just now. When I think about it later, it's really useful. Zhao Wenxing didn't think too much about it. No matter what, Zhao Yun saved a life today. The people who were originally scolding Zhao Yun for being shameless all changed their words and began to praise her. This girl is really amazing. She can even pull someone back from the gates of hell. If it wasn't for this girl, this child's life would really be gone. Her method is really novel, but fortunately, she saved the child. Looks like we have to thank this girl properly. Zhao Yun didn't feel much about the praises around her. After working as a police officer for so many years, he was used to helping people. After Zhao Wenxing jumped into the river, his body was covered with water droplets. She didn't feel it when she was saving him, but now she was shivering from the cold. Fifth uncle, let's go home quickly. You have to change your clothes. Zhao Wenxing nodded. Just as the two of them were about to leave, the woman called out to them. Young master, young lady, please wait. The two of them had saved her son, so she had to thank them properly. They had already agreed that whoever saved his son would be heavily rewarded. I haven't thanked you properly yet. Why don't you come to my residence? I don't have anything good on me, the woman said sincerely. The child in his arms, Lan Xian, was looking at Zhao Yun with a pair of bright eyes full of curiosity. Zhao Yun noticed Lan Xian's gaze and looked towards him. Lan Xian immediately averted his gaze and a blush appeared on his little face. Is this child shy? Zhao Yun's mouth curled up into a smile. Just as she was about to reject the woman's reward, a few people suddenly came. They were all wearing the uniform of servants and said to the woman, Madam, are you and young master okay? Madam, it's our fault. We came late. Please punish us. Chapter 423. The County Deputy Prime Minister's Mansion? So the woman in front of them should be the wife of the County Deputy Prime Minister? Zhao Yun didn't want to be repaid by others. But now, yes, madam. The servants nodded. The woman persuaded Zhao Yun again, Miss, don't refuse. I only have one child. You saved my Xian'er's life, so I have to repay you well. And this gentleman, you're soaked. It's so cold today. You have to change your clothes in case you catch a cold. If so, I'll feel very sorry. After the woman finished speaking, Zhao Yun and Zhao Wenxing looked at each other. Zhao Yun said with a smile, in that case, my fifth uncle and I won't refuse. Let's go. On the way, the County Deputy Prime Minister's wife and Zhao Yun talked a lot and expressed their gratitude. At the same time, they asked about Zhao Yun's situation. When Zhao Yun told them the purpose of coming to Yang City today, the County Deputy Prime Minister's wife said, Miss Yun don't worry. Leave it to me. I'll talk to my husband and ask him to return you the 20 taels of silver. Thank you, madam. Miss Yun you're too polite. You did me a big favor. What I did for you is just a small favor. When they were chatting, they arrived at the County Deputy Prime Minister's mansion. Although the County Deputy Prime Minister's mansion was not as luxurious as the heir's mansion, it was very good among the houses in Yang City. It was a bit like the gardens in the south of the Yangtze River. It could be seen that the County Deputy Prime Minister's family were all elegant people. Come in. The County Deputy Prime Minister's wife said to Zhao Yun and Zhao Wenxing. Zhao Yun and Zhao Wenxing walked in and looked at the surrounding environment. There were bamboo branches, potted plants and flowers everywhere. It was like a garden. After entering, the servant led Zhao Wenxing to change into a clean set of clothes. The County Deputy Prime Minister's wife asked Zhao Yun to stay for lunch. Zhao Yun didn't refuse. Before she came, she was afraid that she would spend too much time, so she told Liang Jinqiao that if she couldn't make it back by noon, Daodu would eat at her place. Big sister Lan Xian handed over a piece of pastry and said to Zhao Yun Zhao Yun smiled at Lan Xian, thank you. You're welcome. The county deputy's wife looked at her son and then looked at Zhao Yun There was a touch of complexity in her eyes. Miss Yun you've sacrificed a lot for Xian today. We're not irresponsible people. Xian is probably a few years younger than you, but it's not a big deal. If Miss Yun is willing, I'll send a matchmaker to Miss Yun's house to propose a marriage proposal. After the county deputy's wife said this sentence, Zhao Yun suddenly choked. Ahem. Yun are you choking? Drink some water. The county deputy prime minister's wife said and handed a glass of water to Zhao Yun Zhao Yun took it and drank it. The corners of her mouth twitched. Was the county deputy prime minister's wife joking? Did he ask someone to propose marriage for Lan Xian, this brat, to marry her? Zhao Yun was an adult. She didn't have pedophilia. She couldn't accept it. Chapter 424. Under normal circumstances, the deputy's wife wouldn't make such a plan. After all, if she really wanted to marry a daughter-in-law, she must find a suitable one, or at least a suitable one for Xian. However, the young man had saved Xian's life. Nothing was more important than that. Women could repay a man with their bodies, so could men. Zhao Yun'er's expression was unusually awkward. Lan Xian stood aside and lowered his head shyly. He didn't raise any objection. Well, madam, you don't need to be so polite. I just saved his life. Besides, he's just a child. He's not a man, so he doesn't need to be responsible for me. Madam, I appreciate your kindness. But Yun-er, you're right. I'm afraid that other people don't think so. Gossip is a fearful thing. If it affects Yun-er's marriage in the future, I'll feel very guilty. Madam, you don't need to worry about that. To be honest, I already have a child. He's already 3 years old. When Zhao Yun-er said that she had a child, the deputy's wife was struck dumb for a second. She didn't know that Zhao Yun-er was a woman who had a child. She thought that Gu Yan was just an unmarried girl. In that case, she felt a little better. If Gu Yan had a child, she would be married. It wouldn't affect Zhao Yun-er much. If so, I'll prepare more gifts for Miss Yun-er later to show my gratitude. That's not necessary. Madam, I didn't save his life for your gifts. Besides, you promised to help me get back the 20 taels of silver. I'm already very grateful. Yun-er, please don't refuse me. If you don't accept it, I'll always owe you a favor. At this time, Zhao Wenqing also came over and said, Madam, the book teaches us to be willing to help others without asking for anything in return. If you insist on paying back, people will pay attention to the benefits they get after saving people. Then the poor people who can't afford to pay back others won't be able to get help. It's not good to have such a trend. The deputy county magistrate's wife didn't know how to refute Zhao Wenqing's words. Scholars were really eloquent. But if you don't want anything in return, I'll feel guilty, Zhao Yun'er said with a smile. Madam, since we're in Yang City, we'll inevitably run into trouble in the future. If we run into any trouble in the future, please help us. In fact, this was also the reason why Zhao Yun'er didn't accept the gifts from the county premier's wife. She was very interested in money, but she knew that she could earn it. The most important thing was that relationship, which couldn't be bought with money. Especially when he was in Sun City and had a relationship with the county magistrate. Miss Yun'er, of course. If you need any help, just let me know. As long as I can do it, I will definitely help. Thank you, madam. The few of them chatted for a while and lunch was prepared at the county deputy's residence. They were waiting for the county deputy to come back. At about 11 o'clock, the deputy county magistrate returned to the county magistrate's mansion after finishing his work in the magistrate's office. The county deputy's wife then told the county deputy what had happened today. Chapter 425. Even without the county deputy's wife's request, the county deputy would consider asking his private advisor to return the 20 taels of silver to Zhao Yun-er. So, the county deputy asked his private advisor to come over. When the private advisor saw Zhao Yun-er, he was secretly shocked. He didn't expect that Zhao Yun-er was so capable that she even asked the county deputy for help. This little girl had really underestimated her. Since the county deputy asked him directly, the private advisor couldn't refuse. So, he returned the 20 taels of silver. When there were only the private advisor and the county deputy sighed and said, This time, it's not that I don't want to protect you. That girl is not a simple person. She has a relationship with young prince. If this matter is investigated later, young prince will also be concerned about it. You will be in big trouble at that time. The private advisor nodded and said, Thank you for your consideration, county deputy. Well, let's not talk about this. Next time you do this kind of thing, take it easy and don't go too far. The county deputy reminded him. The county deputy had been in the officialdom for so many years, so he knew clearly about the covetousness of some small profits. No official had a clean background. If that was the case, relying on the annual salary given by the government, it was estimated that they would have to live a simple life. Zhao Yun-er and Zhao Wenqing had lunch in the county deputy's mansion, then they got up and left. After getting back the 20 taels of silver, Zhao Yun-er and Zhao Wenqing were very satisfied. Today's trip was not in vain. The county deputy and his wife sent Zhao Yun-er and Zhao Wenqing to the gate of the county's mansion. Even if I send you off for 1,000 miles, we will have to part in the end. Miss Yun-er, young Master Zhao, I won't send you off anymore. If you need anything, just come to the county deputy's mansion to find me. The county deputy's wife said with a smile. Zhao Yun-er also replied with a smile, okay. When they were about to leave, Lan Xian called Zhao Yun-er. Sister, Zhao Yun-er turned around and asked with a smile, What's wrong? Lan Xian's face instantly turned red. He shyly asked Zhao Yuner, "Big sister, when can you come to my house to see me? What's wrong? Will you miss me?" Lan Xian nodded shyly. Seeing that this child really treated her differently, Zhao Yuner didn't want to disappoint Lan Xian, so she smiled and said, "If I have time, I'll come and see you." Yeah. Lan Xian nodded heavily. There was a hint of anticipation in his eyes. He was very happy to get Zhao Yuner's promise. The deputy county magistrate's wife was keenly aware of her son's emotional changes. This child. Why does he look so sentimentally attached to Zhao Yuner? Then I'll leave first. Zhao Yuner waved her hand. Then she got on the wooden cart with Zhao Yuner. Xiao Mao pulled Zhao Yuner and Zhao Wensheng and ran away. Zhao Wensheng held the 20 taels of silver in his hand. He still felt that it was a little unreal. He sighed and said, "I didn't expect that it would come back today. Yuner, thanks to you. If you didn't save the county deputy's son, we wouldn't get the money back so easily." Zhao Yuner smiled and said, "Fifth uncle, your contribution is not small. Today you jumped into the water to save people. So it's thanks to you that we can get the 20 taels of silver back." Zhao Wensheng was in a good mood. He smiled and said, "Then we all have a share. If we take the money back to your grandfather, he will be happy." Chapter 426. Zhao Wensheng was somewhat puzzled. "Yuner, why?" "Fifth uncle, our old Zhao has a lot of family members, so you have to make some plans for yourself. When you get married, you'll need a lot of money. It's always good to have 20 taels as a backup. But we haven't separated yet. If your grandfather and grandmother know that I secretly hid 20 taels of silver, they'll fall out. Fifth uncle, if you believe me, I'll keep the 20 taels of silver for you. I guarantee that they won't know. In the future, when you get married or if you need it urgently, I'll take it out." "But Yuner, isn't this not very good? These 20 taels of silver were originally taken out by my grandfather to help me get out of prison. Originally, we couldn't get it back. We got it back with our own ability, so there's no need to give it to old Zhao's family. Fifth uncle, sometimes you have to be a little selfish. You like that aunt in town, so you can't avoid a lot of difficulties. It's always good to have some money to prepare." After being persuaded by Zhao Yuner, Zhao Wensheng was a little embarrassed. He didn't expect that his niece could see that he liked Jin Suijuan. Then keep it. Yuner, you take care of it. If you need it urgently, you can use it. These 20 taels of silver are also yours." Zhao Wensheng said in a low voice, looking a little embarrassed. Zhao Yuner's mouth hooked up. Seeing that Zhao Wensheng didn't insist, she was relieved. Fortunately, he wasn't stubborn. Otherwise, these 20 taels of silver would have been given to old Zhao's family for nothing. When Zhao Yuner and Zhao Wensheng returned to the village, it was already 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Zhao Wensheng took a few days off. Since Zhao Yuner didn't have anything to do, he prepared to go back to school tomorrow. Zhao Yuner went to the third branch to see if there was anything the third branch could help with. When she arrived at old Zhao's house, old Zhao's family was building a wooden shed against the wall. This wooden shed could be considered as a kitchen. After all, the stove needed a place to shelter from the wind and rain. It couldn't be left exposed. If it was a special room, the cost would be a little high. He would have to spend some money, but it was not as fast as building a wooden shed. Zhao Yuner saw that it was her fourth uncle, Zhao Wentao, and her second cousin, Zhao Tianhu, who were helping the third branch to build the wooden shed. As for the other members of old Zhao's family, they didn't interfere at all. Even if he was just sitting there, he was not willing to lend a hand. Seeing that Zhao Wentao and Zhao Tianlong were helping the third branch build a wooden shed, Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Wenshui, who were sitting under the shade of a tree, began to make sarcastic remarks. "Fourth brother, why are you so enthusiastic? We've already split up. Can't he handle the matters of the third branch by himself? Why do you have to interfere and help? That's right, fourth brother. You have so much strength. You have to do more work in the fields later. There's also Tianhu. As expected, he's so energetic at such a young age. It's good to be diligent. It just so happens that plowing the land in the afternoon is a strenuous job." When Zhao Yuner heard Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Wenshui's words, the corners of her mouth couldn't help but twitch. After all, they were biological brothers. It was fine if they didn't help with the work. But instead, they scolded others for doing the work. What kind of people were they? Zhao Yuner looked around. In this old Zhao's family, the most inhumane members were the first and second branches. As for the first branch's second cousin, he was excluded. Zhao Yuner had a good impression of Zhao Tianhu. In old Zhao's family, he was considered a good person. Chapter 427. Li Chuiying was implying that even though Zhao Yuner had given them so much good stuff, the third branch did not necessarily share it with the rest of old Zhao's family. Zhao Yun felt a wave of disgust when she heard those sour words. Hua Chunhua happened to hear those words as well. Hua Chunhua snorted coldly. You still want to take advantage of them? That's like a sow climbing a tree. Zhao Yun rolled her eyes in her heart. They had the nerve to criticize the third branch. Why didn't they think about what they had done? Effort and gain were equal. If you were good to others, others would be good to you. These people didn't treat the people of the third branch well, so why should the third branch share their things with the people of the Zhao family? Zhao Yun entered the courtyard and smiled at Liang Jinqiao. Mother, I'll cook a few more dishes and send them over tonight. Let fourth uncle and second cousin eat with us. I don't have any meat. Even though Zhao Yun did not mention it, Liang Jinqiao had already planned to do so. Since Zhao Yun had mentioned it, she nodded and said, okay. Thank you for your hard work, Yun It's fine. It's not a problem to cook a few more dishes. Okay. When they heard that Zhao Yun had invited Zhao Wentao and Zhao Tianhu to dinner, not only did they know that there would be dishes, but there was also meat. Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Wenshui looked at each other and swallowed hard. They could not help but feel hungry at the thought of eating meat. Third brother, let me give you a hand too. Zhao Wenshi came over and said eagerly. Zhao Wenshui did not want to be left behind. Third brother, let me help too. It'll be faster if there's more people. Even ghosts knew why the two of them were suddenly so eagerly attentive. They just wanted to help now so that they could bring them along for dinner. Zhao Wenhua felt uncomfortable seeing Zhao Tianshi and Zhao Wenshui like this. He didn't help when he should, but now he was being hypocritical. Thus, he refused, Big brother, second brother, there's no need. The wooden shed is almost ready. You should rest well. Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Wenshui were a little unhappy when they heard that. He asked, third brother, what do you mean? Why are you saying that it's almost done when we help you? Aren't you deliberately rejecting us? Big brother, second brother really doesn't need it. Didn't you see it for yourselves? There are only a few things that need to be done in the wooden shed. Then we'll help you finish the rest. By the way, don't you still need to build the stove? We'll help you. Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Wenshui didn't know how to refute what Zhao Wenhua said. Zhao Yun watched from the side and couldn't help but sneer. Just how thick-skinned were these two people? If she hadn't offered to treat them to dinner, they probably wouldn't have come over to help like this. Zhao Wentao and Zhao Tianhu's words seemed to have been completely forgotten when the two of them were down. What kind of people were they? Li Chuiying also chimed in, third brother, you're not being honest. Your big brother and second brother came over to help you out of kindness, but you still rejected them. What do you mean by that? Second sister-in-law, that's not what I meant. It's just that I have enough people here, so I don't want to trouble big brother and second brother if I can. We still have work to do in the fields in the afternoon. Why don't big brother and second brother save their energy to do the work in the fields? Otherwise, they won't be able to do it in the afternoon, Zhao Wenhua explained, but he didn't let Zhao Wenshui and Zhao Wenshi help. Chapter 428. If it were in the past, he would probably agree to let Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Wenshui help. Zhao Yun was looking forward to it. If her father was always like this, how good would it be? Then, the third branch would not be bullied too much. Zhao Yun sneered and said to Zhao Wenhua, Father, since eldest uncle and second uncle are so enthusiastic, let them help. A trace of craftiness flashed across Zhao Yun's eyes when she said that. Zhao Wenhua was stunned. He did not know what Zhao Yun meant by that. Eldest uncle and second uncle took the initiative to help because of their brotherly relationship with father. If you refuse, then you are in the wrong, Zhao Yun said. Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Wenshui hurriedly nodded. Yes, Yun is right. Third brother, the two of us treat you as a brother. If you refuse the help of your brothers, then isn't that not treating us as your brothers? Zhao Wenhua did not know what to say. His train of thought was disrupted by Zhao Yun's interference. Zhao Yun very calmly curled her lips. Yes, father. Eldest uncle and second uncle are helping. They don't have any other intentions, and they don't want anything from you. Why are you still like this? Then, let your eldest uncle and second uncle help? Zhao Wenhua asked in disbelief and confirmed with Zhao Yun. Let's let eldest uncle and second uncle help. But eldest uncle and second uncle, I won't be cooking much later, so I won't be able to entertain the two of you. I believe you won't mind. After all, eldest uncle and second uncle are only helping father because of their brotherly relationship. They don't want this meal, right? After Zhao Yun finished speaking, Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Wenshui's faces instantly darkened. What was this girl saying? They had helped just for this meal. Now that they were not even going to give them a meal, what were they supposed to do? Yun, you can't say that. You've already asked your fourth uncle and second cousin to eat. Your eldest uncle and I only have 2 extra pairs of chopsticks. No matter how little food there is, it shouldn't be enough for the 2 of us, right? Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Wenshui were clearly anxious. Eldest uncle, second uncle, it's really just 2 less people. Isn't it just a meal? It's nothing good. Don't tell me that eldest uncle and second uncle are going to fuss about this? Zhao Yun sneered. I say, Yuner, are you doing this on purpose? Are you trying to trick us? Why is it that we work for you but you don't give us food to eat? Where's this logic coming from? Zhao Wenshui said angrily. The smile on Zhao Yun's mouth became colder. This guy actually had the nerve to say it out loud. Shameless. Delicious to the extreme. How could there be such a person? Old Zhao's family really had a lot of weirdos. In the face of Zhao Wenshui's questioning, Zhao Yun replied indifferently. Second uncle, you can't say that. You and eldest uncle volunteered to work for my father, so I can't force you to treat anyone to a meal. I can treat whoever I want to, right? You little girl, you're so evil. What did your eldest uncle and I do to offend you? You're so stingy with a meal. Zhao Wenshui was a little indignant when he thought about eating meat. His stomach felt very uncomfortable when he didn't have any food for a long time. It would have been fine if they didn't mention eating meat, but now that Zhao Yun mentioned it, Zhao Wenshui felt like there was a glutton crawling around in his stomach. If he didn't eat meat, he would be upset for the next few days. Zhao Yun only found it laughable. Chapter 429. She said that she was evil, but the people from the Zhao family were much worse than her. Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Wenshui were even more so. Eldest uncle, second uncle, you're wrong. I'm not trying to steal your food. Everyone knows that you have big stomachs and eat a lot. One of you can eat as much as 2 people. If I let you come over to eat, then the others don't need to eat. Eldest uncle, second uncle, are you so calculative about a meal, or are you helping just for the food? Zhao Yun exposed them mercilessly. Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Wenshui were embarrassed. This wretched girl was too much. It was not good for them to say no, but it was also not good for them to say no. If they said yes, it would be a slap in the face for what they said just now. If they said no, Zhao Yun had even more reason to not let them eat. You wretched girl, we won't talk to you anymore. We won't help, okay? That's right, we won't help. There's no benefit in helping. It'll be a waste of effort. Humph, do you really think we care about that meal of hers? Zhao Yun curled her lips. It was best if they didn't help. They would really think that she was begging them for help. Zhao Wenhua secretly shook his head. He knew that this would be the outcome. But it was also good that eldest uncle and second uncle would not get involved. Although it was troublesome to set up the wooden shed and the stove, with 4 or 5 people working together, it was done quickly. Zhao Yun went home first to look for Mulan. Mulan was also working in the yard, but she did not interfere much. Instead, she instructed Erhua to do it. Although Erhua was young, she was very skilled at work. There was a wooden basin in front of her with some small clothes soaked in water. When she picked it up and rubbed it in her hands, Mulan said, Erhua, put some soap on it. It'll be clean when you rub it. Got it, mother. As she spoke, Erhua picked up the soap and rubbed it on the stained area. After all, a child's strength was a little weaker, so it was a little strenuous to rub. However, Erhua didn't have any complaints. Take it slow. Sister-in-law Mulan. Zhao Yun called out as soon as she entered the courtyard. Mulan was also very happy to see Zhao Yun. He immediately brought a stool over for Zhao Yun to sit down. Zhao Yun looked at Erhua and said, Erhua is really sensible. She's helping you. Mulan laughed bitterly. If I could, I wouldn't let Erhua work. Yesterday, when she was weaving a bamboo basket, she accidentally cut her hand. Now that the wound had split open, it was very painful and she couldn't touch water. We can only let Erhua do this kind of wet work. When Erhua heard this, her little hand paused. She smiled at Mulan and said, Mother, I'm fine anyway. I'm not tired. Looking at such a sensible child, Zhao Yun was also happy for Mulan. It was okay if life was a little tough, as long as the family was harmonious. The children were all sensible, so naturally, Mulan did not have to worry too much. At the moment, she only wanted to make money. Zhao Yun looked at Mulan's hand, which was wrapped in a piece of white cloth. Weaving bamboo baskets was dangerous to begin with. It didn't seem to be a big deal. Otherwise, the wound would have to be disinfected and bandaged. Chapter 430. Mulan was very excited after hearing this. Yun, is it true? Yes, this auntie's stall hasn't been sold for a long time, so this time, I spent a lot less money than before. Including the things in the stall, it's a total of 1 to 500 copper coins. In addition, you just have to pay 800 copper coins a year. Zhao Yun had told Mulan about the previous price, so she knew the price. This time, it was indeed a lot less. In that case, the stall could really be opened earlier. Mulan couldn't control her excitement when she thought about it. These days, she wanted to earn more money to buy more delicious food for the children. Now, she finally saw hope. Yun, I'll go with you tomorrow, Mulan said. Zhao Yun nodded. She really needed 2 people to go together. After finishing the documents tomorrow, she had to buy some raw materials for making snacks, such as flour, oil, salt, and so on. The stall would open the day after tomorrow, so these had to be prepared in advance. Sister Mulan, what do you think we should sell? If they wanted business to be good, they had to sell some special things. However, Zhao Yun couldn't think of anything that didn't exist in this era. After being asked by Zhao Yun Mulan was a little embarrassed. Yun I don't know much about these things. I'm from the countryside, so I usually eat these things. I don't know what people in the city like to eat. Zhao Yun didn't continue to make things difficult for Mulan. Mulan didn't eat much herself, so she couldn't think of anything delicious. She would go back and think about what to do in the future. Mother, help me wash the diapers. There are almost no diapers left. The voice of Mulan's sister-in-law, Madame Qi, came from Family Zhu's room. Madame Zhu ran out of her room and hurried into Madame Qi's room. Coming. Mrs. Zhu said weakly. Zhao Yun vaguely heard Madame Qi's cursing voice in the room. Mother, aren't you too lazy? He didn't even care about his eldest grandson. He was too heartless. If you don't have diapers, then you can only wet the bed. When the time comes, you'll have to pull off the sheets and help me wash them. Okay. Eldest daughter-in-law, I'll go and take a bath now. Sigh, it's mainly because my waist hurts these 2 days. Otherwise, wouldn't I have taken a bath? In the face of Mrs. Zhu's complaint, Madame Qi didn't take it to heart at all. Instead, she scolded, Mother, even if your waist hurts, you should wash it. I'm still in confinement. I can't wash it, right? The reason why Madame Qi was so arrogant was that she relied on her man's protection. Mrs. Zhu was afraid that the first branch would also argue about the separation. Yes. You rest, I'll go wash up. By the way, Mother, after you're done washing, make me 2 eggs in sugar water to eat. I've been feeling weak these 2 days. Madame Qi ordered again. Mrs. Zhu scolded her eldest daughter-in-law for being greedy in her heart, but she didn't dare to say anything. She could only nod and say, Okay, then I'll cook for you. Sister-in-law Mulan, your mother is quite miserable now. Zhao Yun said with a smile, and there was a hint of schadenfreude in her laughter. Didn't Mrs. Zhu bully others too much in the past? Now, there was someone to teach her a lesson. Speaking of this, Mulan seemed to have some sympathy for Mrs. Zhu. Actually, my mother is quite pitiful. My eldest sister-in-law doesn't do anything and leaves everything to my mother. Chapter 431. If Mrs. Zhu hadn't treated Mulan that way, they wouldn't have split up. Mulan nodded and responded. Sympathy was one thing, but sometimes sympathy was useless. She still remembered how Mrs. Zhu treated her before. Mrs. Zhu took out the diaper and saw Erhua washing clothes beside the wooden basin. She walked over and threw the diaper aside. She said to Mulan, second daughter-in-law, let Erhua wash my diaper too. Mulan was stunned. Was her mother wrong? Let Erhua wash it? Her eldest sister-in-law didn't wash it herself, and neither did her mother. Now she had the nerve to let Erhua wash it? Erhua was just a child. Seeing that Mulan was about to say something, Mrs. Zhu spoke first, second daughter-in-law, my waist has been hurting badly these 2 days. It's okay for Erhua to help wash my diaper. Besides, girls have to do more work from a young age. When she marries into her husband's family in the future, she won't be lazy and be disliked by her husband's family. Zhao Yun only felt that old Madame Zhao was really interesting. She didn't know how she said such things. She sounded reasonable, but it was just nonsense. Mother, my hand is injured. It's already not easy for Erhua to wash my clothes. Where does Erhua get the strength to help you wash it? Why can't she? Isn't Erhua good at washing it? If you don't want to, then don't. Why are you making excuses? Mrs. Zhu said and rolled her eyes at Mulan in displeasure. Mulan took a few deep breaths. She had never seen such an unreasonable person. She even sympathized with her eldest sister-in-law for bullying her. Now, her mother-in-law came to bully her daughter. Fortunately, they had split up back then. Otherwise, her Erhua would really have to help wash her diaper today. Mother, my eldest sister-in-law doesn't wash it herself. Why should my erhua or help her? Now that we're separated, my family won't intervene in your affairs anyway, and I won't wash your diapers for you. Mulan's attitude became very firm. Zhao Yuner watched from the side and smiled. Mulan should be like this. She should be tough so that Mrs. Zhu wouldn't think that she was a pushover. You. Mrs. Zhu pointed at Mulan angrily. After being bullied by his first daughter-in-law, he now had to be bullied by his second daughter-in-law. How did our family Zhu marry such an unfilial daughter-in-law? Old man, why don't you take me down with you? I can't take it anymore. Mrs. Zhu's crying was just to attract people to come over and see her miserable state. She wanted to see if anyone could speak up for her. It was obvious that what she had done was wrong. Now that the truth was known, she should be the one to be scolded. Mrs. Family Zhu, you're wrong. If you want to talk about unfilial, your first daughter-in-law lying in the room is the most unfilial. Your waist is already hurting, but she still asked you to wash the diapers. Mulan's hand is injured, and erhua is just a child. You're separated from the family, so she has no obligation to help you at all, Zhao Yuner scolded. If you shout so loudly, when the neighbors come over later, I'm afraid that your first daughter-in-law is shameless and unfilial. You've been doing confinement for several months, but you still let your mother-in-law do this kind of thing. Zhao Yuner deliberately raised her voice to let Mrs. Qi in the room hear this sentence. Sure enough, after Madame Qi heard this, she immediately rushed out of the house and scolded old Madame Zhu. Chapter 432. Old hag, are you doing this on purpose? Do you want people to scold me? How can you be so evil? Madame Qi said as she pushed Mrs. Zhu. Mrs. Zhu's body couldn't withstand Madame Qi's push. She sat on the ground and cried out, ouch, ouch. Mrs. Zhu had a bad fall and looked a little pitiful, but Mulan had no intention of helping her. In the end, she was bitterly disappointed in Mrs. Zhu. In the past, she was used to being weak and didn't know how to resist, so she was bullied. Now that she thought it through, if she was too weak, she would be bullied, and even her child would be bullied. When Madame Qi heard Mrs. Zhu's cry, she said unhappily, "Can you stop yelling? When people really come later, are you going to say that I pushed you? You evil old hag." Mrs. Zhu only felt aggrieved in the face of the angry Madame Qi, but she didn't dare to say anything. She could only pout and say, "Eldest daughter-in-law, I won't yell anymore, okay? Help me up, I can't get up." Madame Qi glared at Mrs. Zhu. "Old hag, hurry up and wash your diapers when you get up. Don't yell so much that the whole village will hear you. If you gossip about me, I'll make sure you get it." "Okay." Mrs. Zhu bit her lower lip and almost cried. Mulan sighed and didn't say anything else. In fact, Mrs. Zhu often used such beatings and scoldings on her. However, Mrs. Zhu probably didn't expect that such an encounter would happen to her one day. After Madame Qi finished speaking, she glanced indifferently at Zhao Yuner and Mulan and left. She knew that her second sister-in-law wouldn't say anything. Because she treated old Madame Zhu like this, she reckoned that old Madame Zhu was happy in her heart. After Madame Qi entered the room, Zhao Yuner smiled and whispered into Mulan's ear, "Your sister-in-law is quite interesting." Mulan pursed her lips. Her sister-in-law didn't think so in the past, but now, she felt that it was lazy, delicious, and fierce. But there was nothing she could do. She couldn't say anything. Mrs. Zhu pitifully got up from the ground and picked up the diaper on the ground. Then, she took out a wooden basin and began to scrub it. She was afraid that she would be scolded again if she was late. "Sister-in-law Mulan, if there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. I'll come to your house tomorrow to pick you up and we'll go to Yang City together." Mulan nodded. "All right. Yuner, you can go back to your work." "Yes." Zhao Yuner went back to prepare dinner. In any case, Zhao Wentao and Zhao Tianhu had helped to build the wooden shed, so they should be rewarded. Actually, treating these two well was also to show the rest of old Zhao's family. If they got along well with the third branch, it would only benefit them. If it was like before, they wouldn't benefit at all. Zhao Yuner was in a hurry to go to Yang City this time, so she didn't go to the market to buy pork. But there was bacon at home. She went to Auntie Lu's house to ask for some garlic and prepared to stir-fry bacon with garlic. It tasted very good. She also prepared to catch a few bullfrogs. Although this thing wasn't for sale now, it didn't mean that she couldn't eat it. It would definitely taste delicious if she cooked it. There were still some eggs at home. She made a bowl of egg soup and a plate of scrambled eggs with chili. These dishes were definitely very sumptuous in the countryside. "Daodu, let's go catch bullfrogs," Zhao Yuner called out. Chapter 433. The two children were a little excited. After all, it was a serious matter and fun. "Catch more today. Let's eat it ourselves," Zhao Yuner said. When she caught it before, she wanted to sell it for more money, so she didn't keep it and sold it. However, the two of them liked to eat it. Hearing Zhao Yun say so, the two children nodded. Okay, mother. Second sister, I know. Several people came to the field. Zhao Yun really wanted to take some wild vegetables back. After entering spring, the plants grew quickly. The fields were all green and there were all kinds of grasses growing in them. Daodu, you and little uncle go catch bullfrogs. Mother will go pick some wild vegetables. Seeing that the two children were already searching in the field, Zhao Yun was also busy looking for wild vegetables. The sooner she finished, the sooner she could go home to cook. On a piece of land near the foot of the mountain, it was full of weeds. Zhao Yun's sharp eyes found a large clump of duckfoot grass. This duckfoot grass was a kind of wild vegetable that grew in the mountains. Because its leaves were in the shape of 3 petals, it was somewhat like the sole of a duck's foot, so it was called this. The special thing was that when the duckfoot grass was picked, it would emit a strong fragrance. It smelled very good. In addition to being fried as a dish, this duckfoot grass could also be used as medicine. Because it had cooling and reducing internal heat, anti-inflammatory and blood pressure effects, and its nutritional value was particularly high. It was rich in vitamin content. When Zhao Yun found it, her eyes lit up. It was estimated that the people in the village didn't know this kind of grass, so no one picked it to eat. Zhao Yun carried a basket and picked a lot. It just so happened that these 2 days, her father and brother were doing heavy work in the field. They were also exposed to the sun, so it was easy for them to get heaty. Eating this thing could clear the internal heat and was also nutritious. It was good for the children to eat it. They also needed to supplement nutrition and vitamins. Looking at the large piece of grass at the foot of the mountain, it was a pity that people couldn't eat it. In addition to eating it, this kind of vegetable was also excellent for feeding pigs. It was also nutritious for pigs to eat and it was easy to gain weight. If he could raise a few pigs and feed them with this wild grass, he could save a lot of food. However, she did not have the time to raise pigs, but she could discuss it with her mother. In any case, they had already separated from the main family. Bringing back 2 piglets to raise would also belong to the 3rd branch. During the new year, not only could he sell it for money, but he could also eat pork. There were also many people in the countryside who raised pigs. After Zhao Yun finished picking a basket, she got up and went back. On the way back, she bumped into Gooden, who was playing in the fields with other children in the village. As soon as he bumped into Zhao Yun, he just glanced at her and left without greeting her. Zhao Yun was stunned. Previously, Gooden was more polite when he saw her. Could it be that he felt that her mother's imprisonment had something to do with her, so he ignored her? Just as Zhao Yun was thinking about this, she heard a child shout, "Gooden, my mother said that she harmed your mother. Why don't you settle the score with her? If it were me, I would beat her to death and scold her to death. She's too evil. How dare she frame your mother? That's right, Gooden. She's a bad woman who harmed your mother." These children's words fell into Zhao Yun's ears. Chapter 434. Gooden, you're such a coward. He harmed your mother and you're not even going to take revenge for her. A child began to mock Gooden. If it weren't for the fact that he was a child and Zhao Yun was afraid that others would say that she was bullying him, she would have rushed out to beat him up. Damn it, how did his parents teach him? Gooden huffed at the child. Stop talking. I'm going to ignore you if you keep talking. I'm not going to play with you anymore. After saying that, Eggface walked forward angrily. With this roar, no child dared to say anything. Gooden was considered the king of the children. He was quite good at fighting, so the children in the village were afraid of him. However, the more afraid they were, the more they liked to play with him. Zhao Yun sighed. She didn't know what to say. Actually, she didn't want Gooden to hold a grudge against her. There was no point in thinking about it now. Zhao Yun was too lazy to think about it. As they continued walking, Daodu's scream suddenly rang out. Zhao Yun hurriedly ran over. Before Zhao Yun arrived, Gooden had already rushed to Daodu's side. Gooden pulled Daodu behind him and used a tree branch to hit the ground. It was a water snake. Under Gooden's beating, the water snake slipped away. Although this type of snake wasn't very poisonous, it was still a snake. It was normal for Daodu to be afraid. When Zhao Yun saw Daodu, Daodu's little face was ashen. When he saw Zhao Yun coming over, Daodu hurriedly dove into Zhao Yun's embrace. Mother, all right, Daodu, don't be afraid. It's already been chased away. Zhao Yun patted Daodu's back to comfort him. Mother, the snake is so big, Mother knows that Daodu is afraid. All right, let's not catch bullfrogs anymore. Let's go back. Zhao Yun said softly. It was the beginning of spring, and the snakes that were hibernating slowly crawled out. Therefore, it was normal for them to encounter snakes in the fields. Gooden was used to it, so naturally, he wasn't that afraid. Zhao Yun'er said to Gooden, "Gooden, thank you for saving Daodu." In the face of Zhao Yun'er taking the initiative to start a conversation, Gooden didn't know how to respond. "Gooden, can Aunt Yun speak with you?" Zhao Yun'er's voice softened. Gooden looked up at Zhao Yun'er and nodded at Zhao Yun'er. "Go Dan. Do you believe that Aunt Yun harmed your mother?" Gooden nodded and then shook his head. He wasn't sure himself. He felt that Zhao Yun'er wouldn't harm his mother, but the surrounding people all said that Zhao Yun'er did it. His father and grandmother all said the same thing. It can't be that everyone was lying. "Gooden? You're still young. There are many things that you don't understand. However, Aunt Yun can tell you for sure that Aunt Yun didn't harm your mother. Do you remember that Aunt Yun told you that toads are poisonous and can't be caught? Think about it again. Didn't your mother let you catch a lot of them?" Zhao Yun'er didn't say the rest of her words. She was afraid that if she said it too bluntly, it would make Gooden's impression of his mother even worse. No one wants their own mother to be a bad person. Gooden was very smart and understood Zhao Yun'er's meaning. He lowered his head and seemed to be thinking about something. After a while, he said, "Aunt Yun, I believe you." Zhao Yun'er patted Gooden's head. "No matter if you have any complaints towards Aunt Yun still thinks that you're a good child. Also, thank you for protecting Daodu today." Chapter 435. Zhao Yun'er sighed as she watched Gooden leave. It was normal for this child to feel estranged. No matter how bad Qin Hailan was, she was still his mother. Whether or not Qin Hailan was harmed by Zhao Yun'er, it was still related to Zhao Yun'er. "Let's go, Daodu, Tianfu," Zhao Yun'er said to the two children. Although they didn't catch a lot of bullfrogs, it was enough to cook a big plate. Zhao Yun'er returned home and handled the bullfrogs neatly. Then, she began to prepare dinner. Daodu and Zhao Tianfu helped to light the fire. After a while, Liang Jinqiao came over. She could even help with the cooking. The mother and daughter were busy in the kitchen. Liang Jinqiao washed and cut the vegetables while Zhao Yun'er cooked. It was the first time she had seen Zhao Yun'er cook so well. The vegetables were put into the pot and fiddled with it a few times. Immediately, a fragrant smell came out. "Yun'er, your cooking skills are really good. The vegetables are so fragrant." Liang Jinqiao couldn't help but praise. "Mother, there's some rapeseed oil in the vegetables. How can it not be fragrant? In the past, you didn't use oil when cooking." "That's true. There's no oil or flavor in the vegetables. But oil is expensive. Your grandmother can't bear to let us use more." "It's okay, mother. In the future, when we have money, we can eat more oil. There's no need to be too frugal. Tianan and Tianfu are still growing. Father is also tired from working." Yes, I know, Yun'er." As Zhao Yun'er spoke, she poured the chopped chili and eggs into the pot. Instantly, a choking smell came out. Liang Jinqiao couldn't help but cough a few times. He was choked by the smell. "Yun'er, it's really choking. But at the same time, I feel that the smell of it is very appetizing." Zhao Yun'er smiled. "That's right. Scrambled eggs with chili. It goes well with rice and wine. It's perfect for father and fourth uncle to drink." Liang Jinqiao sighed. "But there's no wine at home. I can't give it to your father and fourth uncle. Your grandfather does have it, but he definitely won't be able to get it." "It's okay, mother. I have some here." Zhao Yun'er brought back several jugs of white wine from the Shitzi estate. He was going to drink with Mu Lianfeng when he came over. In addition, some dishes can also be cooked with wine. Anyway, white wine wouldn't expire, so it didn't matter if he kept it at home. "Yun'er, you still have wine at home?" Liang Jinqiao was secretly surprised. I happen to have some. It's all good wine. Bring a jar over later." "Okay." Liang Jinqiao nodded. "By the way, Yun'er, your second aunt said that she will ask a matchmaker to find a marriage for your cousin Jing'. If she finds a good one, she can marry him. After all, she's already 16 years old. I was wondering if I should ask a matchmaker to help you ask around in the surrounding villages. If there's a suitable one, you can consider it too." Liang Jinqiao thought that there was nothing going on between Zhao Yun'er and Mu Lianfeng. Moreover, there was a huge gap between their statuses, so there shouldn't be anything going on between them. When Zhao Yun'er heard this, she paused what she was doing and said to Liang Jinqiao, "Mother, don't worry about me. I'm living quite well with Daodu now. If you want to worry, you should worry about Sister Ping'. She's older than me and doesn't have any children. It's much more practical to find a marriage for her." Zhao Yun'er immediately pushed this matter to Zhao Ping'. A woman like Zhao Ping' was detestable at home. It would be better if she got married. Chapter 436. After hearing what Zhao Yun'er said, Liang Jinqiao thought about it and agreed. Her eldest daughter was not young and was not married yet. If she delayed any longer, she would not be able to get married for the rest of her life and would be wasted at home. Actually, she did not mind. At most, she would raise her daughter for the rest of her life. However, if her daughter really stayed at home, she would inevitably be gossiped about in the village. It would not be good for their family and Zhao Ping. Liang Jinqiao nodded and said, "Then I'll ask the matchmaker to help our families Ping. I hope she can find a marriage partner." The two children also heard the conversation between Zhao Yun'er and Liang Jinqiao. Zhao Tianfu said, "Mother, I think eldest sister will definitely not be able to get married. Eldest sister is too ugly. It's scary just looking at her." Daodu also chimed in, "Grandmother, eldest aunt is also fierce. She's always fierce to Daodu. No one will like her." Zhao Yun'er did not know whether to laugh or cry at the two children's words. Liang Jinqiao was the same. He nagged at Zhao Yun'er, "Look, we haven't found a person yet, but the two children are already talking about it. Ping's appearance is not likable, and her personality is not good. It is indeed a bit difficult to find a husband." However, Zhao Yun'er smiled and said, "If we really can't find one, then we'll just make do with someone who is suitable. No matter how bad older sister Ping is, she is still a woman. There are many bachelors. How can she not get married?" Liang Jinqiao sighed, "That's the only way. If it's not too bad, then we'll just let her get married." Zhao Yun'er nodded. In her heart, she could not wait for Zhao Ping to get married quickly. Once she was married, she would not be able to cause any trouble. After the meal was ready, they put it in a basket and carried it to the third branch. In the evening, old Zhao's family members had returned from their work in the fields and were resting in the courtyard. As soon as Zhao Yun'er arrived, the courtyard was filled with the aroma of food. Especially the aroma of meat. The aroma of the salted meat was even stronger, making old Zhao's family members drool. Especially the delicious food from old Zhao's house. They couldn't wait to snatch the food and eat it themselves. "Fourth uncle, fifth uncle, second cousin, you all come in and eat." Zhao Yun'er greeted. The three of them smiled shyly and didn't decline the offer. After entering the room of the third room, he arranged for a table and sat down. Zhao Yun'er placed the cooked dishes on the table. Seeing the food and wine, the uncle and nephew couldn't help but sigh. What a sumptuous dinner tonight. They thought it was just a casual meal. They didn't expect the dishes to be so good. There really was meat. The bacon stir-fried with garlic was sliced into thin slices. One look and one could tell that it was very delicious. There's also wine. This wine is really fragrant. It's much more fragrant than the wine made by our family. Of course, it's obvious that it was bought by Yun'er, right? How can the wine from our countryside compare? Haha, that's true. Then we're really lucky today. As they talked, they had already sat down. Liang Jinqiao prepared the bowls and chopsticks and asked them to hurry up and eat. "Did the little girl Yun'er make all these dishes? Or third sister-in-law?" Zhao Wentao asked. Liang Jinqiao smiled and replied, "Yun'er made them. I didn't even interfere. Yun'er is really amazing. Her cooking is really good. The best dishes I've ever eaten are the ones you made today." Chapter 437. Fourth uncle, fifth uncle, stop praising. Hurry up and eat. Otherwise, the dishes will get cold, Zhao Yun'er said. Okay. Let's eat. Today's feast is really sumptuous. It's a good meal. Us brothers are also having a good time, Zhao Wentao said with a smile. Zhao Yun'er liked Zhao Wentao's candid personality very much. Among the brothers, her fourth uncle was her favorite. Her eldest and second brother were too weird. Her father was a steamed bun. Her fifth brother was not the steamed bun. Because of his studies, he was more rigid. Only her fourth uncle was slightly more rebellious. Sometimes, he would even argue with Hua Chunhua and Zhao Baoshan. "Third sister-in-law, sit down and eat too," Zhao Wenqing said. Liang Jinqiao waved her hand. No. You guys eat. I'll stand. You men are drinking at the table." "It's okay, third sister-in-law. Let's sit down and eat together? It's really okay. You guys eat. We can just stand and eat." Liang Jinqiao insisted. The table was already small. With the four men sitting on each side, there was no space. Sometimes, old Zhao's women were not allowed to sit at the table. She was used to it. "Third sister-in-law, we'll eat then. Eat." The aroma of the dishes and the strong aroma of the wine made the people outside the room salivate. Zhao Wenshui said, "Not only are the dishes delicious, but the wine is even more fragrant. I can tell that it's good wine just by smelling it. Big brother, it's a pity that we can't drink it. Zhao Wenshi snorted. It's all because of that Yun. I've never seen such a bad girl. Sigh, if I had known, I would have helped third brother today. Maybe I could have gotten a drink now. Forget it. If you helped, I might not let you drink it. The aroma of the wine is too alluring. Big brother, why don't we go in and ask for a drink? If we don't eat, why don't we just have a glass of wine? You going? Zhao Wenshi replied. Anyway, he was not going. Although he wanted to drink, he was not as thick-skinned as Zhao Wenshi. The main thing was that if the other party didn't give it to him, how embarrassing would that be? Let's go together. Big brother, it's not good for her to reject the two of them, don't you think? I'm not going. He definitely won't give it to you. Second brother, you'd better not think about it. Sigh? Zhao Wenshi sighed and couldn't help swallowing his saliva. It would be fine if he didn't see it, but the fragrance couldn't be covered up. It was hard not to smell it. Li Chueying and Zhao Wenshi felt the same way. Seeing the third branch eat and drink well, they felt uneasy. She had thought that the three branches would have to live a hard life after separating from the main family, but in the end, she had miscalculated. Therefore, he could not help but nudge Hua Chunhua beside him. Mother, although the third branch has been separated, you are still the elder. After separating, the son still has to support his parents. No matter what, third brother and the others should send you some delicious food and let father have a drink? Only they are eating. They are too heartless. It would have been fine if Li Chueying did not say it, but when Li Chueying said it, Hua Chunhua felt that this was the case. He gave birth to an ingrate. He has forgotten his parents' good food and drink. He also doesn't remember who raised him. Hua Chunhua raised her voice. Her tone was full of dissatisfaction. With such a loud voice, the people in the room also heard it. The brothers who were drinking looked very embarrassed. It was a bit wrong. They were brothers drinking. Shouldn't they also call Zhao Baoshan over? Chapter 438. Zhao Yun nodded. So be it. It doesn't matter if there's one more person. As long as it's not her eldest uncle and second uncle. Those two people are too disgusting. Seeing Zhao Yun nod, Zhao Wenhua heaved a sigh of relief. He was most afraid that Zhao Yun wouldn't agree. Then I'll go call them, Zhao Wenhua said. With that, Zhao Wenhua walked out of the room and called Zhao Baoshan in. Zhao Baoshan was a little embarrassed at first, so he refused. Third brother, this isn't appropriate, right? I didn't help at all. You guys can just drink. It's okay, father. Let's go and have a drink. Zhao Wenhua tugged at Zhao Baoshan. Hua Chunhua nagged, just go. Why are you being so pretentious? Although we're separated, it's right for third brother to ask you to drink. Zhao Baoshan was also attracted by the fragrance of the dishes and wine. Since Zhao Wenhua and Hua Chunhua said so, he nodded. Zhao Baoshan also wanted to go in to drink. Zhao Wenshi and Zhao Wenshi, who were sitting in the courtyard, were even more anxious. Zhao Wenshi couldn't help but say, third brother, all the men in our family are drinking. It's just me and your eldest brother. Anyway, two more people won't make a difference. Why don't you bring the two of us? Originally, Zhao Wenshi was too embarrassed to say these words, but since Zhao Wenshi said it, he responded in passing. Zhao Wenhua naturally didn't expect Zhao Wenshi to have the nerve to say it. It wouldn't be nice if he didn't respond, so he could only pretend that he didn't hear it. However, Zhao Wenshi also played dumb. Zhao Wenhua didn't respond, so he took it as agreement. He continued to follow them into the room of the third branch. When he saw the dishes on the table, he immediately rushed over. Second uncle, what are you doing? Zhao Yun asked coldly. Drinking. All the men in our family are drinking together. Your father also agreed. Zhao Wenshi answered. As he spoke, he picked up the wine cup on the table and took a sip. After tasting it, he exclaimed in admiration, not bad, not bad. It tastes really good. It's indeed much better than the wine in our family. Third brother, where did you get such delicious wine? Zhao Yun stared at Zhao Wenshi. She couldn't stand it anymore. How can there be such a weirdo? Second brother, I didn't ask you to come here. But I just told you. I didn't agree. Third brother, isn't it unkind of you to do this? You've already called all the men in our family over to drink. How can you leave me and your elder brother behind? How can you do this? And he even said that he was a brother. So stingy. Zhao Wenshi scolded. Zhao Yunhua's ears turned a little red. After all, he was a man, and he cared more about his face. Of course, he felt uncomfortable being criticized by his own brother. If Zhao Wenshi was really thick-skinned and insisted on staying to drink, he couldn't do anything about it. Knowing that Zhao Wenhua couldn't say anything, Zhao Yun put her hands on her waist and said fiercely, "Second uncle, you can't say that. I invited fourth uncle and second cousin over because they helped my parents today. I invited fifth uncle over because he had been running around a lot these days because of my matter. I invited grandpa over because grandpa was an elder after all. Even though we had separated from the family, he still had to show filial piety in some places." Chapter 439. Zhao Wenshui felt humiliated by her blatant attempt to drive him away. "Third brother, say something. As a father, how can you let your daughter interrupt us? Second uncle, please get this straight. The wine is mine, and so are the dishes. Even if my father agrees, it doesn't matter. Hurry up and leave, or I'll hit you." Zhao Yun's voice became colder. She was trying to persuade him. If Zhao Wenshui was still shameless, she would really hit him. Zhao Wenshui was annoyed by Zhao Yun, a junior, and said angrily, "I'm not leaving today. Let's see what you can do to me." With that, Zhao Wenshui sat down on the stool. He didn't believe that Zhao Yun, a woman, could do anything to him. Zhao Yun's eyes turned cold. "Since you don't want face, then there's nothing I can do about it." Zhao Yun walked up to Zhao Wenshui, grabbed him by the collar, and threw him out of the door. Ouch! Zhao Wenshui fell heavily to the ground and tumbled. The men in the room looked at Zhao Yun in shock. This girl was too strong. She lifted him up as if he was a chicken. She didn't use any strength at all. "Tianyu's father, how are you? Oh, this girl, how can she be so ruthless?" Li Chuiying rushed to Zhao Wenshui's side and shouted. He hurriedly helped Zhao Wenshui up. Just by looking at it, he could feel the pain from the fall. Zhao Yun frowned and warned him in disgust. "Second uncle, I hope you know what's good for you in the future. Otherwise, you won't have a good time." Zhao Wenshui cowered in a second. After he fell, he became clear-headed. Zhao Yun was different from before. She couldn't be easily provoked. Thus, he patted the dirt off his body and muttered, "If you don't want to eat, then don't eat. You really think your food is a treasure, stingy bastard." Zhao Wenshui's words and his expression made Zhao Yun not know whether to laugh or cry. This Zhao Wenshui was really interesting. He had a childish temperament. When Zhao Wenshui saw that even Zhao Wenshui was defeated, he didn't dare to continue. It didn't matter if she missed a meal, but being beaten up like that by Zhao Yun was really embarrassing. Because of Zhao Yun's appearance, the commotion finally ended. The men in the room continued to sit down and eat. As for Zhao Yun's way of doing things, she didn't have much of an opinion. After all, they had separated from the main family, and each of them lived their own lives. The third branch could invite whoever they wanted to eat over. Come, let's continue drinking. Father, I'll fill it up for you. Yun's cooking is really good. Father, eat this bacon, it's really fragrant." The men ate happily. The children, Zhao Yun and Liang Jinqiao all stood to eat. If they wanted to eat, they could just pick up the food before the table. It was nothing. After a while, Zhao Ping came back from outside. They didn't know where she had gone to play. Zhao Yun looked up and glanced at Zhao Ping's appearance. She couldn't help but spit out the mouthful of rice in her mouth. Zhao Ping was holding a bouquet of wildflowers in her hand. There were all kinds of wildflowers, and there was a big one by her ear. The flowers were beautiful, but her face didn't match such beautiful flowers. The problem was that Zhao Ping didn't think so. Instead, she thought that she was very beautiful. She was a little coquettish. Zhao Yun couldn't help but ridicule in her heart. How could some people not have any self-awareness at all? Chapter 440. Mother, do I look good like this? Zhao Ping asked Liang Jinqiao shyly. Liang Jinqiao did not know how to answer. If he told her the truth, he would definitely hurt his eldest daughter's heart. However, if he did not tell the truth, he could not go against his conscience and tell Zhao Ping that she looked good. Otherwise, Zhao Ping would continue to wear a red flower in her ear and be laughed at wherever she went. Liang Jinqiao did not answer Zhao Ping's question, but Zhao Yun covered her mouth and could not help but laugh. Hearing Zhao Yun's laughter, Zhao Ping felt that Yun was laughing at her. She glared at Zhao Yun angrily and asked, Zhao Yun what are you laughing at? What do you think I'm laughing at? Zhao Yun asked in return. You must be laughing at me. Haha, then tell me, what is it about you that is worth laughing at? Or do you think that you are ridiculous? Otherwise, you would not ask this question, right? Zhao Ping did not know how to respond to Zhao Yun's words. She could not win against her with words. You are not allowed to laugh at me. If I find out, see how I will deal with you. Zhao Ping warned. I am too lazy to laugh at you. Let her continue to be so narcissistic. It would be good if more people saw her like this and laughed at her. She would find out the truth in a few days. By then, it would be too late to find a hole to hide in. Zhao Ping composed herself and said to Liang Jinqiao, "Mother, Xiao Feng and I went to the field to pick flowers today. She said that I look good like this. If I go out with this flower in my ear and wear nice clothes, there will definitely be men who like me." When Zhao Ping said this, she was not embarrassed at all. Instead, she was a little excited and expectant. He had taken her words for real. The Xiao Feng that Zhao Ping mentioned was called Ma Xiaofeng, a villager. His mother was a widow with him and his brother. Ma Xiaofeng was only 16 this year, but her family was poor, so she wasn't very well liked in the village. Zhao Ping was ugly, so she was not very popular. Perhaps the two of them were in the same boat, so they walked closer to each other. When Zhao Yun heard Zhao Ping's words, she couldn't help but laugh. Her sister was really pitiful. It turned out that she wanted to dress up nicely because she wanted men to take a fancy to her. But how could he not know what kind of person he was? And that Ma Xiaofeng? She went against her conscience and said those things to Zhao Ping. She was sure that Ma Xiaofeng was not a good person. Her sixth sense told her that Ma Xiaofeng was not a good person. Liang Jinqiao glared at Zhao Ping. There were men in the house. How could she say such things? "Mother, what's wrong with you? You're a girl. Don't you know how to be shy? You say anything." "Mother? Xiao Feng was the one who told me, not me. I do look much better like this, right?" Liang Jinqiao's mouth twitched. He avoided this answer and called Zhao Ping. "It's time to eat. Come and eat. There are so many delicious dishes today." When she heard that there were delicious dishes, Zhao Ping immediately threw everything to the back of her mind. She glanced at the dishes on the table and her eyes lit up. There were indeed many good dishes. Chapter 441. You little girl, you're already an adult. Why do you still need others to call you when you're eating? Who would know where you are if you went out to play? Liang Jinqiao retorted. She felt a little helpless and her tone towards Zhao Ping became a little harsh. After all, Zhao Ping was already an adult, yet she was still immature. This made her feel very uncomfortable. "Anyway, it's your fault that you didn't call me. Fortunately, I came back early. Otherwise, you would have probably eaten it all." Zhao Ping snorted softly. "You child, mother, hurry up and scoop rice for me. I want to eat too." Liang Jinqiao sighed and said, okay. I'll scoop rice for you." However, Zhao Yun grabbed Liang Jinqiao and said to Liang Jinqiao, "Mother, she wants to eat. Let her scoop rice for herself. As an elder, how can you help her scoop rice? It's not like you don't have hands." After Zhao Yun said that, Liang Jinqiao felt that it was inappropriate for her to scoop rice for Zhao Ping. "Zhao Yun, what do you mean by this? Meddling in other people's business." Zhao Ping was angered by Zhao Yun again. She felt that Zhao Yun was deliberately going against her. "Zhao Ping, you're already an adult, yet you still need your mother to serve you. Aren't you ashamed? If you want to eat, scoop rice for yourself. Otherwise, don't eat." Zhao Yun said fiercely. "Why should I?" Zhao Ping muttered and looked at Liang Jinqiao again. "Mother, look at Zhao Yun. She's too much. Aren't you going to do something about it?" "Zhao Ping, I made all the dishes today. They're from my family. If you continue to be long-winded, you won't be able to eat a single bite," Zhao Yun said coldly. Zhao Ping was a little willful, but she wasn't a complete fool. After stomping her feet angrily, she obediently picked up the bowl and scooped a bowl of rice for herself. Then, she walked towards the table. "Second cousin, move to the side. Let me sit there too. I want to sit and eat." Zhao Tianhu looked at such a small stool. How could the two of them sit? Sensing Zhao Tianhu's awkwardness, Liang Jinqiao said, "That's enough, Ping, don't sit down. We're all eating standing. Your father and the others drinking." But what? Mother and I can stand, but you can't?" Zhao Yun rolled her eyes at Zhao Ping standing. Zhao Ping squeezed her body onto the table and began to pick up food with her chopsticks. She scooped up more than half of the remaining bacon and put it into her bowl. She also scooped up a lot of scrambled eggs with chili. When Zhao Yun saw this, she immediately flared up. It wasn't appropriate for the people at the table to criticize Zhao Ping, but Zhao Yun wasn't. No matter how she looked at her sister, she didn't like her. She started scolding her coldly again. "Zhao Yun, are you a pig? Can't you see that so many people are eating? You've taken all the good food. What else is there to eat?" Zhao Ping was also angry. She slammed the bowl and chopsticks on the table. Zhao Yun, you're going against me. You just don't want me to eat, right? Just say it. At most, I won't eat. With that, Zhao Ping ran out angrily. Everyone in the room was stunned. This child's temper was getting worse. Actually, when Zhao Ping scooped up the food, they felt uncomfortable, but they couldn't say it out loud. They didn't expect Zhao Yun to say it. Zhao Ping had such a bad temper. She didn't eat and ran out. Chapter 442. Zhao Wentao was a little worried. Nothing will happen to that girl, right? What can happen? She has a temper. She'll be fine after her temper passes. That's good. Sai Ping can't be like this. She's still throwing tantrums like a child. She's so insensible. I'll ask her mother to arrange for her to get married. After she gets married, she'll be fine after she's educated by her in-laws. Zhao Wenhua didn't have the intention to let Zhao Ping get married either. Now, he made up his mind. The men drank and chatted. They didn't take Zhao Ping's anger to heart. Zhao Yun finished eating and went back with Daodu. She went to bed early that night. She planned to go to town the next day. After washing up, Zhao Yun lay on the bed and started thinking about snacks. After going to town to take a look, she realized that there were many snacks from the 21st century here. In addition to making snacks that people here liked, she also wanted to make snacks that people here hadn't eaten before. Zhao Yun thought about it and ordered a few snacks that she hadn't seen in Yang City before. She ordered fried dough sticks, wontons, fried noodles, and shumai. As for the snacks that she had eaten before, she sold some buns, dumplings, and noodles. In her previous life, Zhao Yun liked to eat fried dough sticks and drink a cup of soy milk in the morning. The fried dough sticks were fragrant, crispy, and delicious. As for the soy milk, it was fragrant and nutritious. People in this era rarely drank soy milk in the morning, but she could give it a try. She would grind some soy milk later. If it sold well, she would grind more soy milk in the future. If no one bought it, she wouldn't sell it in the future. After arranging everything, Zhao Yun fell asleep in a short while. The next morning, Zhao Yun woke up early and went to Mulan's place. The two of them drove the little donkey to Yang City. The woman in charge of the stall also came early and waited for Zhao Yun. The two of them found a gentleman, told him the conditions, and prepared the documents. Both of them pressed their fingerprints, one for each of them, and stored it away. Before they left, the woman explained some things about the stall. In addition to the stall, there were tables, chairs, and a stove. There was also a small room near the stall. When they closed the stall, they could put the items in the room and lock it up to prevent theft. It would save Zhao Yun the trouble of bringing them home. Zhao Yun's mother. Thank you, auntie. Haha, now I can finally go back and serve my wife. I'm so happy. Yun, let's work hard. We'll definitely earn a lot of money. Zhao Yun smiled. Of course. The snacks she made were much better than the woman's. Since her business was so good, she naturally wouldn't be too bad. Sister-in-law Mulan, let's go. Let's go shopping. Okay, Yun. Mulan followed her excitedly. The advantage of having a little donkey was that they could put whatever they bought on it. She didn't have to carry it herself. Chapter 443. In addition, she bought some oil, salt, spices, vegetables, and the like. She bought 5 caddies of pork at once, and the boss of the meat shop gave her some big bones. There was no meat on the big bones, and there was no oil, so the ancient people did not like it. But in the 21st century, the big bone soup was very nutritious, and the price was a little higher than the price of ordinary meat. If the soup was stewed with this big bone soup, it would definitely taste good. Zhao Yun asked, Boss, if I buy meat and big bones from you every day, can you lower the price? Miss, if you can buy so much every day, I can definitely lower the price for you. The boss said with a smile. How can it be cheaper? Miss, I can give you a discount of 1 copper coin for the pork and big bones. That is, the pork will be 14 copper coins per caddy, and the big bones will be 2 copper coins per caddy. Miss, what do you think? Zhao Yun thought about it and felt that it was very cost-effective. After all, many little drops make a mickle. When the time came, she could save a lot. The price of the meat on this stall was about the same. Zhao Yun came a few times and compared the prices. This stall was more generous. So the meat on this stall was sold faster than other stalls. In this way, the meat would definitely be fresher than other stalls. Okay, boss, then I will patronize your business in the future. Haha, good. Give me another 5 caddies of big bones. Okay. The boss quickly picked out 5 caddies, picked out the bones with more meat, and gave them to Zhao Yun. After paying the money readily, Zhao Yun carried these things and put them in the car. Today's big purchase cost more than 500 copper coins. Fortunately, the stall was full. Otherwise, although the other things were not very expensive, the pots and pans would cost a lot. The most important thing was that it took more time to buy those things. Sister-in-law Mulan, let's go back, Zhao Yun said. Okay. Mulan nodded. Seeing that Zhao Yun had bought so many big bones, she was somewhat puzzled. She asked, Yun, what are you buying these big bones for? Stew the soup. Tomorrow, I'll cook noodles with some bone broth. It'll definitely taste good. This thing isn't expensive and the cost is low, but it can be boiled in a big pot. Mulan nodded. I see. You can also eat it yourself. Sister-in-law Mulan, your children are still growing. Boil some big bones for them to drink and nourish their bodies. There was no nutritious food at home. If the children didn't eat well, it would be difficult for them to grow taller. You can take a few back later. Mulan thought about her 3 children. They were indeed skinny and didn't gain any weight. It's just that his family isn't well off, so there's nothing good to eat. In the past, he didn't know how to buy big bones. Although the price was cheap, the villagers felt that there was no oil or water, so there wasn't much nutrition. Now that Zhao Yun said it, it seemed that this thing was very nutritious. Yun, is this big bone really that good? Of course. The bone broth has high nutritional value. It's more nourishing than eating meat directly. Okay, then I'll take 2 back to stew. If it was something expensive, Mulan would be embarrassed to accept it. 2 copper coins per caddy was quite cheap. Okay. The carriage stopped in the courtyard of Mulan's house. Zhao Yun picked 3 big bones with the most meat on them and gave them to Mulan. Chapter 444. Okay. After all, the 2 of them still had to prepare for tomorrow's breakfast. Some things needed to be done today, such as wrapping the buns, wrapping the wontons, and boiling the bone soup in the evening. Otherwise, if they waited until tomorrow morning, it would be too late. Since they had time during the day, they could sleep a little more in the morning. Otherwise, they would have to wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock. When Zhao Yun returned home, Daodu was playing in the courtyard with Zhao Tianfu. Looking at the 2 children playing happily, Zhao Yun's mouth also hung a smile. Little Hei had grown a little. When Daodu ran, Little Hei chased after him. Woof woof woof, the little puppy suddenly turned its head and looked in Zhao Yun's direction. Sure enough, the dog's ears were sensitive and it heard the sound from afar. After Daodu heard Zhao Yun's movements, he also looked in Zhao Yun's direction. Mother Zhao Yun put down the things and sent some rice, noodles, oil, and salt to Liang Jinqiao's place. After they separated from the family, old Zhao's family didn't give much of these things to the 3rd branch. In addition, Zhao Yun also brought some bones over for Liang Jinqiao to stew. The 3rd branch could drink bone soup. Daodu, go to grandmother's place first. When you come back from grandmother's place, mother will cook for you, okay? Yes, Daodu isn't hungry yet. Daodu rubbed his little belly and smiled. Daodu brought back a lot of pastries from the Shixi's residence. In the morning, Zhao Tianfu and Daodu ate a lot. Children didn't have a big appetite, so they naturally weren't hungry after eating a lot of these things. That's fine. When they arrived at the 3rd branch, Liang Jinqiao was preparing to cook. Zhao Wenhua and Zhao Tianan had gone to the fields and hadn't returned. It would take more time to reclaim the land on the mountain. The wooden shed was neither too big nor too small. Inside, there was a stove and a lot of firewood. Zhao Wenhua and Zhao Tianan brought the materials back from the foot of the mountain when they were cultivating the land. In ancient times, unlike modern times, there was no gas or natural gas. They could only use things like straw and wood. The poles of some crops could be burned, such as cotton poles, rapeseed poles, and straw. These were not enough, so they went up the mountain to get some wood. Zhao Yun's family didn't even have a field, so these things were naturally scarce. Mother, I brought you something. Zhao Yun said and took out the rice, flour, oil, and salt. Liang Jinqiao felt a little embarrassed when he saw Zhao Yun stuffing him with more things. She declined and said, Yun, why did you send me so many things? You still have to live your own life. Take them back. Your father and I can still work and support ourselves. Mother, why are you being so courteous with me? Take them. If I didn't have these things, I wouldn't have sent them to you. Okay, I'll put them here. Don't reject them, Zhao Yun said. She put them on the stove as she spoke. Liang Jinqiao sighed slightly, feeling that he had dragged Zhao Yun down. Zhao Yun saw Liang Jinqiao's guilt and comforted her. Mother, it's okay. I'll need your help in the future. What can Yun do you need help with? If mother can help, I'll definitely help. Liang Jinqiao was a little excited. After all, he had taken Zhao Yun'er's things. He would feel bad if he didn't work hard. Zhao Yun'er told him about her snack stall. Later, she wanted Liang Jinqiao to help make buns and wontons. Chapter 445. There were a lot of things and they were not difficult, but they required manpower. One person would not be able to handle all of them. After Liang Jinqiao heard this, he nodded without hesitation and said, Yun'er, of course. I'll go over to help you after lunch. Okay then. Li Chueying overheard the conversation between the mother and daughter. Li Chueying was surprised to see that Zhao Yun'er had sent something good over again. Not only that, he did not expect Zhao Yun'er to open a breakfast shop in Yang City. He knew that it was going to make money. Was this girl really that capable? It was impossible for him not to be jealous. Li Chueying could not help but go forward and say in a strange tone, Third sister-in-law, you're so lucky now. Yun'er is so capable. Not only did she send you good things, but she also opened a breakfast shop. You'll have a good life in the future. Liang Jinqiao smiled awkwardly and did not know how to reply. Zhao Yun'er could not be bothered with Li Chueying. Some people just could not bear to see others doing well. Especially between sisters-in-law, they were afraid of who was richer than the other. Seeing that Zhao Yun'er and Liang Jinqiao did not say anything, Li Chueying continued, Yun'er, if you don't have enough people at your shop, let my Jing-er help. She has nothing to do at home anyway. It's good to let her help you. Zhao Yun'er did not believe that Li Chueying would be so kind. She just wanted Zhao Yun'er to help her so that she could share some of the money she earned with Zhao Yun'er. Li Chueying was not that stupid to think of this idea. Zhao Yun'er said mildly, no need. Thank you for your kindness, second aunt. My shop is small and I don't need so many people to help me. Kindness is not rewarded. Humph, forget it if you don't want it. Li Chueying said angrily. Zhao Yun'er smirked. She thought it was interesting. She was not a fool. Did Li Chueying expect her to jump into the trap set by her? Mother, if there's nothing else, I'll leave first. I'm going back to cook for Daodu. Don't forget to stew the big bones later. Liang Jinqiao nodded and said, got it. Yun'er, you can go back. Okay. Just as Zhao Yun'er was about to leave, Zhao Ping, she said to Liang Jinqiao, Mother, where are the desserts? Where did you put it? Why is it gone? They were in the basket to be sure. I didn't move. What's the matter? Mother, there's nothing left in the basket. The candies are gone too. It can't. It must be Tianan and Tianfu who ate it. There was still half of it yesterday, but there's none left today. Why didn't they leave some for me? I don't care. Mother, I want more. Liang Jinqiao frowned. What could she do? She couldn't ask Zhao Yun'er for more, could she? Zhao Tianfu was playing at the side. He replied, Big sister, I didn't take it. I didn't eat it. Daodu took it out for me. Brother Tianan didn't eat it either. He couldn't bear to eat it and wanted to give it to me. It wasn't you or Tianan who ate it. Could it be that it was stolen by someone? Zhao Ping muttered. Ping, did you see anyone enter the house? Liang Jinqiao asked. I went to play with Xiaofeng today. I wasn't at home. How could I see anyone? Then what's going on? We're all family. Would they steal our things? Liang Jinqiao frowned. Chapter 446. But if that was the case, how could he have the nerve to ask old Zhao's family? She couldn't bring herself to do that. Zhao Yun'er snorted, how is it not possible? There were too many shameless people in old Zhao's family. It was not impossible for them to steal things. Moreover, old Zhao's family had seen it when she sent those things over last time. It was normal for them to have bad intentions since they couldn't get it directly. Then, who could have stolen it? Liang Jinqiao frowned and asked again. Zhao Ping blurted out, it could have been either my second aunt, my youngest aunt, or my grandmother. These three people were the most suspicious. Because in the whole old Zhao's family, the second branch and Zhao Xinhui were the most gluttonous. Zhao Ping knew the characters of old Zhao's family better. Zhao Ping's guess was almost the same as Zhao Yun'er's. These people were the most suspicious. Liang Jinqiao still sighed. We don't have any evidence now. It's not appropriate for us to ask them directly, after all, they were a family. It was not appropriate for them to say such things. But we can't let them eat our food for free. Zhao Ping curled her lips. She was angry at the thought of it. She hadn't eaten all those pastries herself. She said to Liang Jinqiao angrily. Ping, since you're so angry, why don't you ask my aunt and second aunt? Zhao Yun'er said indifferently. Now she knew that she was making things difficult for Liang Jinqiao. She didn't even say a word. She thought that everything would be settled by just moving her mouth. I won't. Zhao Yuner, do you think I'm stupid? If I ask my grandmother directly, she will scold me to death. She won't admit it. You're so evil. You don't want me to do this kind of thing. Zhao Yuner snorted coldly. Since you already know, then why are you still talking about it? Instead of questioning mother, why don't you think of a way yourself? Zhao Yuner, do you want to quarrel again? When Liang Jinqiao saw that the two sisters were about to fight again, he hurriedly said, Okay, don't quarrel over this matter. How about we just forget about it? It's not good to hurt the harmony of our family. No. Zhao Yuner and Zhao Ping said at the same time. Zhao Ping was upset because her food was stolen. If it was something else, it would be fine. But those pastries were so delicious that ordinary people couldn't eat them. It was one thing to steal, but to steal the rest in one go. Zhao Yuner felt that since there was a first time, there might be a second time. If she didn't teach the thief a lesson this time, her food would definitely be stolen again. Sigh, what should we do? Liang Jinqiao frowned and sighed. Mother, don't worry. I have a way. Yuner, do you have a way? Liang Jinqiao asked. Zhao Ping also came up curiously to listen. Zhao Yuner pretended to be mysterious and said, I'll tell you tomorrow. By the way, mother, I'll go to Yang City tomorrow and buy a lock on the way back. When I come back, I'll put everything in the house. When I leave, I'll lock the door to avoid today's situation. Chapter 447. Liang Jinqiao nodded. Got it, Yuner. It was hard to guard against a thief in the house. These words were not without reason. It was good to be careful now to avoid future embarrassment. Mother, I'll go back then. After Zhao Yuner finished speaking, she left old Zhao's courtyard with Daodu. There were too many weirdos here. She would feel stifled if she stayed any longer. At noon, Zhao Yuner cooked a few simple dishes. She stewed big bones, and the thick smell of the bone broth was very attractive. When it was stewed, the broth was milky white. Zhao Yuner sprinkled a handful of green onions under it, and the fragrance was stronger. The children liked to drink it very much, and each of them drank several bowls. Zhao Yuner waited for the bone broth to cool down a little, and then made a big bowl for Little He. Obviously, Little He liked the taste of the bone broth very much. He lay on the ground and licked the big plate of bone broth clean in a short while. After drinking it, he looked up at Zhao Yuner and wagged his tail, looking very flattering. You want more? Zhao Yuner asked. Woof woof. Little He wagged his tail and responded. Okay then, I'll make some more for you. You can't drink any more after you finish it. Zhao Yuner said to Little He. Such a big little puppy, how much could it eat? If it liked to drink it, it probably wouldn't know if it burst its stomach. Zhao Yuner poured half a bowl of bone broth from the pot and poured it for Little He. In the future, if the business of the breakfast stall was good and there was bone broth every day, she could give some to the children and Little He to drink every day. This way, the children would probably grow faster. In the afternoon, Zhao Yuner began to prepare things like steamed buns and wontons. She bought some baking powder. The flour for steamed buns needed to be fermented. After washing the 5 pounds of meat she bought, most of it was chopped into meat fillings. Whether it was steamed buns, dumplings, or wontons, it was needed. In fact, the most important thing about the taste of dumplings, wontons, and steamed buns was the fillings. If the fillings were delicious, the taste would naturally be good. Zhao Yuner was very confident in the fillings she mixed. In her previous life, her mother was best at making dumplings for her. Zhao Yuner was often pulled in a sedan chair, and after a long time, she naturally inherited her mother's skills. Liang Jinqiao and Mulan also came. When Mulan came over, she found that Zhao Yuner had made a lot of things. She said apologetically, Yuner, I'm sorry. I'm late. My uncle came back today. I was delayed by something. Zhao Yuner smiled. It's okay, sister-in-law Mulan. I have nothing to do myself, so I'll start first. Okay, I'll come too, Mulan said. As she spoke, she washed her hands first and then sat down next to Zhao Yuner. With the addition of Liang Jinqiao, the three of them worked pretty quickly. Sister-in-law Mulan, you said your uncle came back. Did he find trouble with you? Zhao Yuner asked casually. No, but my mother-in-law is not feeling well. She sprained her waist, so she can't cook. My sister-in-law's cooking is not good. Uncle said it was hard to swallow and insisted on eating at my house. You know, after all, he is the brother of San-er's father. I can't say not to let him eat, right? Mulan's tone was helpless. Chapter 448. When Zhao Yun heard this, she only hoped that Mulan's brother-in-law would really only eat one meal and not continue to laze around. After all, there were many weirdos in the family Zhu. Based on what Mulan said, Zhao Yun felt that Mulan's brother-in-law was definitely not a good person. The steamer was filled with buns, and the rest could only be made on the spot after the buns were sold out tomorrow. As for the youtiao, the flour could be kneaded and made on the spot. There were also a lot of dumplings and wontons. Zhao Yun was afraid that they would not be able to sell so much, so she did not prepare too much. The rest of the stuffing was placed on a plate and brought over tomorrow. As for the bone broth in the pot, Zhao Yun washed the wooden bucket clean and scooped it up. Yun do you want me to help out tomorrow? Liang Jinqiao asked. It was the first day of business, and the people were not familiar with it. If the business was good, they would probably be busy. It was always good to have one more helper. Mother, you have to be busy at home too, right? It's okay. It's not too late to do the work when I come back. Your sister Ping is still at home. She can also help out a little. Zhao Yun did not believe that Zhao Ping would help, but she felt that the two of them would probably be too busy tomorrow. It would be good to let Liang Jinqiao go. Thus, she replied, all right then, mother, you can come with me. Okay. It only took them 2 hours to finish all these things. It was faster than Zhao Yun expected. They were not very familiar with it. If they were more familiar with it, they would probably be faster. It was only 3 in the afternoon when they finished. Yun I'll go back and get some water to send to your father and Tianan, Liang Jinqiao said. Zhao Wenhua and Zhao Tianan went up the mountain again. The water they brought was probably finished. Mother, I have water at home. Use mine. I don't have to go back to get it. Liang Jinqiao nodded. Okay, I'll get some water from you and send it over. Yes. Zhao Yun poured a pot of herbal tea and added some honey before handing it to Liang Jinqiao. Mulan also got up and prepared to go back. Zhao Yun stopped Mulan. Sister Mulan, do you have soybeans at home? A little. I planted quite a lot last year and was going to sell them. Later on, no one wanted to buy them, so I stopped selling them. Now, I sometimes stir-fry a plate of soybeans with wine. Yun do you want soybeans? Zhao Yun nodded. She was going to grind soybeans into soy milk. Then I'll go back and get it. I'll send it to you later. No need, sister-in-law Mulan, I'll go with you. I'll also go to Aunt Lu's house later. Zhao Yun remembered that Aunt Lu had a stone mill at home. She would have to grind the soybeans when she got them back. Okay, let's go together. Yes, yes. By the way, sister-in-law Mulan, you said that your uncle is back. Can I borrow some paper from him later? Daodu had used up all the paper she bought at home to practice calligraphy. Zhao Yun had been busy with other things recently and didn't buy any for Daodu. She suddenly wanted to use it, but she couldn't take it out. She could only borrow a few pieces now and return them when she bought them later. It should be okay. My uncle isn't that stingy, Mulan said. Zhao Yun nodded. That's good. I'm going to write down the price of the snacks. Then, when the customers come over, they can figure it out. Those who are literate don't have to ask about the price. This way, it would be more convenient for others and for herself. It was just a matter of sticking a piece of paper. Chapter 449. Mulan looked at Zhao Yun with admiration in her eyes. Zhao Yun smiled and said, I learned it from my 5th uncle. I can only recognize simple characters, not many. Mulan still admired her and said, that's good enough. It's better than me not knowing any of them. Haha, I'll teach you how to read if I have the chance. Mulan nodded and said, okay. The two of them chatted as they walked towards Mulan's house. When they arrived at Mulan's house, Mulan said, Yun, that's my uncle's room. You can go in and tell him that you're here. I'll find some soybeans for you, but I can't remember where I put them. My memory is a little bad. Zhao Yun nodded. There were several rooms in the family Zhu's house. Mulan's uncle lived in the one facing the south. The light was the best, and the room was better than the other rooms. It was conceivable that Elder Zhu loved his youngest son the most. Zhao Yun walked to the front of Zhu Sanlu's house. His door was closed. She didn't know if Zhu Sanlu was concentrating on studying inside. If she went in like this, would she disturb him? Out of courtesy, Zhao Yun knocked on the door before entering, but there was no response. Zhao Yun was a little curious about whether there was no one inside, so she reached out and pushed the door. When she pushed it, she found that the door was tightly closed. Why was the person at home like this? Bang, bang, bang. Zhao Yun knocked on the door a few more times. Finally, someone responded. The voice from inside was a little flustered. Who is it? I'm Zhao Yuner, a friend of Mulan's sister-in-law. I want to borrow some paper from you. I'll buy it tomorrow and return it to you. Zhao Yuner directly stated her purpose. Wait for me. Okay. Zhao Yuner waited at the door for half a minute before Zhu Sanlu opened the door. Standing in front of him was a man in his early 20s. In fact, he was only 2 or 3 years younger than Zhu Eru. However, Zhu Sanlu's complexion didn't look too good. He looked weak. He looked like a fair and clean little boy. Because of his studies, he had a scholarly temperament. However, this Zhu Sanlu did not give Zhao Yuner a very good feeling. When Zhu Sanlu saw Zhao Yuner, his eyes revealed a trace of wretchedness. Zhao Yuner felt even more uncomfortable being stared at by Zhu Sanlu. Wretched man. Zhao Yuner immediately thought of these 3 words. Zhao Yuner coughed softly before Zhu Sanlu reacted. Zhao Yuner smiled, and one of her hands involuntarily rubbed against her clothes. Zhao Yuner caught a glimpse of the unknown liquid on Zhu Sanlu's clothes from the corner of her eye. As a mature woman in the 21st century, Zhao Yuner, who often dealt with criminals, of course knew what it was. At the same time, a strange and unpleasant smell began to enter her nostrils. Zhao Yuner suddenly understood why Zhu Sanlu had closed the door tightly in the room just now. This man? Was he trying to control himself? Although it was normal for such an old man to have such needs, Zhao Yuner still felt a little disgusted. Come in and see what kind of paper you want. Zhu Sanlu greeted her. Zhao Yuner didn't dare to enter and hurriedly waved her hand. No, it's not good for a woman like me to enter your room. Just give me a piece of paper that you usually practice on. Well, okay then. Zhu Sanlu was a little disappointed. Chapter 450. After Zhu Sanlu entered the house, he took out 3 pieces of paper and handed them to Zhao Yuner. Here you go, miss. Zhao Yuner reached out to take them. Thank you. But Zhu Sanlu still held them and did not let go. Zhao Yuner frowned. What did this guy mean? Zhu Sanlu began to be naughty. He wanted to touch Zhao Yuner with his other hand, but he was interrupted. Mulan shouted, Yuner, I found the soybeans. Zhu Sanlu quickly let go of them. Zhao Yuner took the paper. Thinking of Zhu Sanlu's actions just now, Zhao Yuner felt more disgusted than if she had eaten feces. Mulan's uncle was definitely lustful. Staring at the paper in her hand, Zhao Yuner didn't want to use it anymore. Was it stained with Zhu Sanlu's unknown liquid? Zhao Yuner hurried to Mulan. Yuner, I have a total of these at home. Do you think it's enough? Mulan raised the bag of soybeans in her hand and asked. It was half a bag, about 3 or 4 caddies. She could find a lot of soybeans. Zhao Yuner nodded. It's enough. This was just a trial sale. She was not sure how much she could sell. That's good. Then you can take them all. Well, put it on both of our accounts according to the market price. When we earn money later, we'll calculate it together. No need, Yuner, you don't have to be so clear about it. My things are nothing. Just treat it as a contribution to our shop. You see, the cost was paid by you first. I didn't pay anything. I feel bad. Zhao Yuner smiled. Okay. Before leaving, Zhao Yuner whispered in Mulan's ear, Sister-in-law Mulan, why did your uncle come back? They said it's school holidays. What's wrong? It's nothing, but Mrs. Mulan, you'd better be careful of your uncle. He's not young anymore. Why don't you ask your mother to help him find a wife? So that he wouldn't continue to do those disgusting things. Mulan didn't quite understand what Zhao Yuner meant, but she still nodded and said, okay. After leaving Mulan's house, Zhao Yuner went to Aunt Lu's house. Zhao Yuner directly asked to borrow the millstone, so Auntie Lu asked Lu Shan to bring it out. Graphite was a small grinder that was pushed by hand. It was usually used to grind some flour. However, although it was small, it was very heavy. Yuner, I'll ask Shanzi to send it to you, Aunt Lu said. She was worried that Zhao Yuner couldn't move such a heavy thing by herself. Will I trouble Brother Shanzi? It's fine. Lu Shan walked out and said with a smile. It was just a trip. As a big man, he had plenty of strength. Because of Zhao Yuner's help, his father's condition got better and his life was saved. Lu Shan was very grateful to Zhao Yuner in his heart. Thank you, Brother Shanzi. Lu Shan shook his head with a smile and said, Yuner, you're welcome. Let's go. Okay. The two of them walked on the road and chatted casually. Lu Shan's words were not bad. He was an honest and straightforward man in the countryside. This kind of honest and simple woman gave women a sense of security. When they were about to reach the door, Zhao Yuner felt that someone was following them. However, she didn't see anyone when she turned around. Yuner, what are you looking at? Lu Shan asked with concern. Zhao Yun shook her head and said with a smile, nothing. Maybe she was being too sensitive. Then where should I put the millstone? Lu Shan asked. Chapter 451. Lu Shan nodded. Okay. As he spoke, he hurried into Zhao Yun's house and left after putting it down. Lu Shan knew that it was not good to stay at Zhao Yun's place for too long. It would bring rumors to Zhao Yun, so he said to Zhao Yun, I'll go back first. Okay, sorry to trouble you, brother Shanzi. It's fine, it's fine. Zhao Yun soaked the soybeans in water. These things had to be soaked for at least a few hours. She would grind it at night. She had stewed pork bone soup and cooked some noodles for dinner. She finished it early. At night, the soybeans were almost done soaking in water. Zhao Yun began to grind the soybeans. Daodu was too tired from playing during the day and had already gone to bed. Zhao Yun was the only one left. She lit a candle and sat at the table to grind the soybeans. There was a small opening in the grindstone. She just had to pour the soybeans into it and push the grindstone. If she pushed the grindstone with her hands, the soybean dregs would spill out. The soybean dregs had to be wrapped in a white cloth and washed with water to get the soy milk out. Of course, the washed soy milk had to be boiled in a pot and some white sugar added. Only then would it be tasty soy milk. Zhao Yun finished grinding the soybeans. She would get the rest in Yang City. If she heated up the soy milk now, it would be cold by the time she sold it the next day. After everything was done, someone knocked on Zhao Yun's door. Who would come to her house so late at night? Zhao Yun frowned. She walked to the door and asked, Who is it? Miss Yun, it's me. A man's vulgar voice came from outside the door. Zhao Yun recognized it. It was Mu Lan's brother-in-law, Zhu Sanlu. This disgusting man actually dared to look for her at night. Seeing that Zhao Yun didn't say anything, Zhu Sanlu spoke again from outside the door. Miss Yun, I know that you're lonely without a man, so let me come in and warm you up. Today, I saw you and Lu Shan flirting with each other. It's not good for a married man like him. If his wife knew about it, she would definitely make a fuss. How about me? I can accompany you at night more often. After listening to Zhu Sanlu's words, Zhao Yun felt something churning in her stomach. She wanted to vomit it out. She was wondering why she felt like someone was following her today. So it was him. Miss Yun, quickly open the door and let me in. Zhu Sanlu was also a little anxious outside. Open the door? The corner of Zhao Yun's mouth raised into a sneer. How unbearable is this man's thirst? Creak. Zhao Yun opened the door. Zhu Sanlu was ecstatic. He thought that Zhao Yun was really willing to have a relationship with him. She happily pushed open the door and went in. However, she didn't expect that as soon as she went in, her head would be covered by a wicker basket. Then, a stick attacked her body, continuously hitting her body. It hurts, Zhu Sanlu grumbled. You still know pain. Since you dared to come, you should have thought of such an ending. What kind of disgusting man could enter this lady's eyes? Why don't you take a look at yourself in the mirror? The more Zhao Yun thought about it, the angrier she got. She was a widow, so there was a lot of trouble in front of her door. She wasn't a widow, but she didn't have a man. Their nature was similar. This man still came to cause trouble for her. So when Zhu Sanlu was hit on the ground, Zhao Yun didn't show any mercy. Chapter 452. Zhu Sanlu hurriedly begged for mercy. Zhao Yun removed the basket from Zhu Sanlu's head, then punched Zhu Sanlu's face a few times. Otherwise, she would not be able to vent her anger. I beg you, let me go. I won't dare to do it again. Zhu Sanlu almost knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun snorted coldly. He was quite a coward. He had the courage to be perverted, but he did not know his own limits. If I find out that you're here again, you'll be in trouble. With that, she directly lifted Zhu Sanlu up and threw him out. Zhu Sanlu fell heavily to the ground and let out a miserable cry. It was one thing for him to fall, but the problem was that his face fell on the dog poop on the ground. His face was full of the stench, and Zhu Sanlu was so disgusted that he retched. He had rushed over excitedly, but he did not expect to end up in such a miserable state. Zhu Sanlu used his sleeve to wipe his face, and could not help but vomit again. This time, he directly vomited out the food he ate today. Why is there dog poop on the ground? It stinks. Damn dog. Poop everywhere. The more Zhu Sanlu thought about it, the angrier he became. However, after scolding, he tactfully left. He was actually beaten up like this by a woman. Such a shameful thing was naturally embarrassing to let others know. After Zhu Sanlu said that sentence, Little Black, who was in the room, barked a few times outside the door. Woof, woof, woof. He actually dared to call it stinky. Mother Daodu poked his head out from under the blanket and shouted at Zhao Yun, "Er." The sound just now was still a little loud, and it woke Daodu up from his sleep. Zhao Yun sat in front of the bed and said to Daodu, "Daodu, were you frightened?" Daodu shook his head, "No, mother. Daodu is not afraid. Daodu still has to protect mother. Did a bad uncle come over just now?" Zhao Yun nodded. "Yes, but mother has already chased him away. Mother is amazing. Haha, it's fine now. Daodu, go to sleep." Zhao Yun coaxed gently. Okay. Daodu obediently burrowed back into the blanket and closed his eyes to sleep. However, in his heart, he was silently praying for his father to come back quickly. When his father came back, he would be able to protect his mother. If anyone dared to bully his mother, his father would definitely beat them to a pulp. He wondered when his father's return. At the same time, Mu Lianfeng, who was far away in the capital, put down the book in his hand and looked outside. Yan's, to see, asked, "What's wrong?" "Lu, to sleep to go to twos to a." Mu Lianfeng glanced at Yan. He said coldly, "What's with your reaction?" "No, master, it's nothing. Heh, someone like you who doesn't have a wife and a son naturally wouldn't know how I feel right now," Mu Lianfeng added indifferently. Mu Yan only felt that his heart had been greatly hurt. Was it really good for his master to treat him like this? If he was forced into a corner, he would just find a woman and run away with her. He wouldn't be able to find him. The next morning, Zhao Yun got up at around 5 o'clock. It was still dark outside. However, it would take another 20 minutes to get to Yang City. After that, it would probably be 6 o'clock in the morning. Chapter 453. When it was 6 o'clock, many people in Yang City would probably have woken up and come to the breakfast stall to buy snacks. Zhao Yun called yesterday, and Liang Jinqiao came on time. Zhao Yun arrived at Mu Lan's house, and the three of them sat on the donkey and rushed to Yang City. After moving the things out of the stall, Liang Jinqiao was in charge of tidying up and wiping the table. Zhao Yun was in charge of making the snacks. As for Mu Lan, she was in charge of assisting. While the few of them were busy, time passed in a short while. When it was 6 o'clock, some customers slowly came. The business of the stall that Zhao Yun took over was quite good before, so there were still many people who were used to coming here to buy breakfast. In addition, the food that Zhao Yun made was really fragrant, and the fragrance spread through the entire street. Many people were attracted by the fragrance from Zhao Yun's breakfast stall, and they all ran over to see what food she made. "Miss, what are these wontons? Are they delicious?" someone asked. "Of course they're delicious. Wontons are like dumplings, but they're a little different. Uncle, do you want a bowl?" "How much is one bowl?" 8 copper coins for one bowl. "I guarantee it's enough." "All right, then give me one bowl." "Okay. Miss, what's this? I've never eaten it before," a woman asked as she pointed at the fried dough sticks that Zhao Yun placed on the table. Zhao Yun explained patiently, "Auntie, these are fried dough sticks. 1 copper coin for one. They're very delicious. Do you want to try one?" When the woman heard that it was only 1 copper coin for one, she felt that it was quite cheap. It smelled quite good, so she could buy one and try it. "How can that be? Give me one." The woman handed 1 copper coin to Zhao Yun. Okay. Zhao Yun took a piece of butter paper, wrapped it up, and handed it over. "Auntie, if you like it, you can buy it next time." "Haha, for sure." The woman took it and tasted it. The crispy and fragrant taste was simply too delicious. It's delicious, it's delicious. "Miss, this thing you made is really good. 1 copper coin per stick is really worth it." This woman also had a loud voice. With this shout, even more people came. "Miss, give me one too. I want one too. Me too, me too." The dozen or so deep-fried dough sticks that had just been fried were sold out in an instant. Zhao Yun asked Liang Jinqiao to help sell them while she continued to make more. "Don't just buy fried dough sticks, I have other things here that are delicious too. The fragrant steamed buns and shumai are definitely different from other restaurants." "Really? Try it and you'll know. There are both meat and vegetable buns." "All right then, 2 vegetable buns and 1 meat bun." "I want 2 vegetable buns too." The people who ate the buns began to praise them. Just as Zhao Yun said, they tasted good. "I didn't expect that the food in this stall would be even better than before. The vegetable buns are fragrant and fresh. Miss, how did you make it? It's delicious. I'll buy breakfast here tomorrow." Hearing these people's praise and recognition, Zhao Yun was also very happy. The meat buns were delicious because the stuffing was her exclusive secret recipe. The vegetable buns were delicious because Zhao Yuner chopped up the dried mushrooms that she had picked from the mountain before and put them into the vegetable buns. Chapter 454. It was probably because Zhao Yuner's breakfast was the best in the whole breakfast stall, so many people came over after hearing about it. Most of the time, when others said that it was good, even if they didn't want to buy it, they couldn't help but buy a little to try and see if it was as good as the rumors said. Therefore, Zhao Yuner, Liang Jinqiao, and Mulan were all busy in the morning. The three of them didn't expect that business could be done so well. All the materials that they brought in the morning were sold. It was only around 9 o'clock when they were sold out. The three of them sat at the stall and rested for a while, each of them with a smile on their faces. Yuner, our business today is really good. Yes, it's really good. I didn't expect that breakfast stalls could make so much money. Liang Jinqiao couldn't help but sigh with emotion. He was happy that Zhao Yuner found a way to make money. Mulan smiled and said, Auntie, that's because Yuner's food is delicious. Look at other stalls, they don't have such good business. Liang Jinqiao thought about Mulan's words and felt that it was true. All the money that they earned today was placed on the plate. Zhao Yuner poured it all on the table, and the three of them began to count it. After counting, there was a total of 100 or 200 copper coins. Excluding the cost of 300 copper coins, they earned 900 copper coins in the morning. 900 copper coins was not a small amount. The salary of an average person was not necessarily 500 copper coins a month, and they had to work hard to earn it. This was much worse than the bullfrog that Zhao Yuner gave her before, but Zhao Yuner was satisfied. Now that she was doing business steadily, she could still save a few taels of silver in a month. When she earned more money, she would have the capital to do other businesses and live a better life. The three of them rested for a while. They were too busy and tired in the morning. Anyway, it was still early, so they were not in a hurry. After resting for 20 minutes, the three of them tidied up the stall and went to the market to buy some ingredients. Then, they drove the little donkey back. Zhao Yuner asked Mulan to buy a gene of meat and bring it back to eat. Her child probably hadn't eaten meat for a long time, so it was necessary to make up for it. In order to catch the thief from old Zhao's house, Zhao Yuner bought a mousetrap. She bought the biggest one. Liang Jinqiao asked in confusion, Yuner, why do you want to buy a mousetrap? Mother, I'm going to use this to catch the thief who stole the snacks. Ah? Using this? Liang Jinqiao was still a little confused. Yes, yes. Zhao Yuner nodded and replied. Then, he told them about his plan. Liang Jinqiao felt that it was a little too cruel, but when he saw Zhao Yuner insisted, he agreed. It was really annoying when he thought about it. There were so many pastries that he didn't eat at home, but they were stolen. Zhao Yuner's carriage stopped in front of Mulan's courtyard. Mulan's little uncle was sitting in the courtyard. The sound of cooking came from the kitchen, but it was Mrs. Zhu who was busy cooking, not Mulan's sister-in-law. Mulan saw that Zhu Sanlu's face was bruised and asked, Little uncle, what happened to your face? He looked as if he had been beaten up badly. Chapter 455. Mulan felt a little strange. Wasn't there a toilet at home in the middle of the night? Why did he run out and hit his face like this? There were bruises all over his face, as if he had been beaten up. So Mulan said with concern, Little uncle, don't come out to the latrine at night next time. You can use the toilet at home. The injury on your face is not light. Why don't you find a doctor to take a look at it? Zhu Sanlu waved his hand, no need, second sister-in-law. Zhao Yuner couldn't help but mock, sister-in-law Mulan, a man shouldn't be so precious. It's expensive to find a doctor to take a look. It's best if you don't come out at night. Otherwise, you won't accidentally hit your face next time, but fall into the latrine and drown. This sentence was not so much said to Mulan, but to Zhu Sanlu. Zhu Sanlu was furious after hearing it, but he was too embarrassed to lose his temper. This woman was too much. Yuner, you're right. It's dangerous to go to the latrine in the middle of the night. I've heard before that someone fell into the latrine and drowned at night. It was winter at that time, and the family found him the next morning. Little uncle, you have to be careful at night. Zhao Yuner didn't know whether to laugh or cry after hearing it. In fact, she was just joking. There really was such a thing. Got it, second sister-in-law. Zhu Sanlu gritted his teeth and responded. Zhao Yuner continued to drive her little donkey home. She unloaded everything, put it in the house, and prepared for lunch. Yuner, you'll come to my place after eating, right? Zhao Yuner nodded. Okay, then I'll go back first. Wait, mother, take the pig liver back and make some pig liver soup. It can nourish the blood. There was only half a caddy of pig liver, not much. It was a gift from the boss when they bought the pig. Liang Jinqiao declined. You can eat it yourself. Mother doesn't need it. Mother, just take it. Don't be so polite with me. Anyway, it was a free gift. Father and Tianan are exhausted from working, but there's nothing good to eat at home. Sigh. I'll take it then. You and Dowdu should get some good food too. Got it, mother. Zhao Yun'er continued to make some bone soup for lunch. She cut up half a gene of meat and braised it for Dowdu. This little fellow hadn't eaten red braised meat for a few days and was craving for it. After eating, Zhao Yun'er carried some pastries to her parents' place according to her plan. While old Zhao's family was at home, Zhao Yun'er deliberately raised her voice. Mother, I've sent you some snacks and candies. They're on the cabinet in our house. You should eat them early. They'll spoil easily if left out for too long. During lunch, Liang Jinqiao had also colluded with his family. He replied, got it, Yun'er. Mother, why don't you come to my house in the afternoon to help? I can't do it alone. Okay. When Liang Jinqiao and Zhao Yun'er were talking, Zhao Ping'er also cooperated. Mother, I'm going to play with Xiao Feng in the afternoon. Father and Tianan are working. Won't there be no one at home? What if a thief comes in? It doesn't matter if there's no one. It's such a big yard. Your other uncles and aunts are still at home. With them watching, what thief can come in? Okay then, mother. Since you said so, it's fine. Then I'll go out to play in the afternoon. Chapter 456. As expected, the thief really fell for it. When Zhao Xinhui heard this, he happily waited for the people from the third branch to leave. Zhao Xinhui had eaten the snacks before. He had never eaten anything so delicious. Yesterday, she had stolen from the third branch, and in a short while, she had eaten them all. He had eaten so much, but he still didn't feel satisfied. He had to steal some more today. In the afternoon, Zhao Wenhua and Zhao Tianan from the third branch went to cultivate the land. Zhao Ping ran out to play. When Zhao Xinhui saw Liang Jinqiao close the door, he turned around and left the old Zhao's courtyard. Then, he tiptoed into the third branch's room. Where did I put the things? Zhao Xinhui searched the room and found that it was placed in the innermost corner of the room. He was afraid that someone had rummaged through it. When Zhao Xinhui saw the things in the basket, he hurriedly ran over. He didn't care about the mouse trap at his feet. As soon as he took the basket, he felt a sharp pain from his feet. The mouse trap was stuck in his ankle. It was so tight that it was sinking into his flesh. Zhao Xinhui squatted down and tried to pry the mouse trap open. However, it wouldn't budge. Ah! It hurt so much. Zhao Xinhui's screams came from the old Zhao's room. What's wrong? What's wrong? Hua Chunhua hurriedly ran out. When she heard that the sound came from the third branch's room, she hurried over. The other people from old Zhao's family also came out of the room to join in the fun. When they saw that Zhao Xinhui had been caught in the mouse trap, they couldn't help but laugh secretly. Mother, it hurts so much. My feet are about to break. Help me pry it open, Zhao Xinhui shouted. He was in so much pain that tears flowed out of his eyes. Hua Chunhua squatted down and tried to pry it open. However, she couldn't pry it open even after using all her strength. This rat trap is too big and tight. Mother can't move it, Hua Chunhua said anxiously. It hurts, Mom, it's bleeding. Zhao Xinhui pointed at her feet. Hua Chunhua looked down and saw that it was indeed the case. Zhao Xinhui's ankle was bleeding. Hua Chunhua scolded angrily, look at what third brother is doing. He must have put such a big rat trap on purpose. Sigh, my what should we do? Hua Chunhua caught a glimpse of Li Chueying, who was standing motionlessly by the side, and scolded her, my second daughter-in-law, are you blind? Why didn't I help you when you were standing by the side? Mother, I was stunned. Don't blame me. Li Chueying asked. I'm curious as to why Auntie is in third brother's room. It wouldn't be strange if she was trapped somewhere else. However, she was trapped in the third branch's room. She didn't even need to think to know that something was amiss. Hua Chunhua also reacted. That's right, why are you in your third brother's room? Zhao Xinhui naturally wouldn't say that she was there to steal snacks. She answered vaguely, nothing, I'm just here to ping. Hua Chunhua didn't think too much about it. She continued to ask Li Chueying to help her pry it open. The two of them used all their strength but still couldn't pry it open. Sigh, Mother, we women can't pry it open with our strength. We need a man to do it, Li Chueying said, panting in exhaustion. Jing, hurry up and call your grandfather and father over. Otherwise, your auntie's foot will be broken. Hurry up, don't be slow. Hua Chunhua instructed. Chapter 457. Not long after Zhao Jing ran out, Zhao Yun and Liang Jinqiao returned to the third branch's room. Liang Jinqiao didn't leave at all. He hid behind the room with Zhao Yun. Sure enough, as soon as she left, Zhao Xinhui was ready to steal the snacks. Hearing Zhao Xinhui's wolf-like howl, Zhao Yun couldn't help but laugh in her heart. This woman really fell into the trap. Thinking of the largest mousetrap she bought, Zhao Xinhui must have been tortured badly. She was really smart. She had to deal with people like Zhao Xinhui in this way. Zhao Yun said to Zhao Xinhui, who was on the ground, "Aunt, what's wrong with you?" Zhao Yun's tone was a little gloating. Zhao Xinhui glared at Zhao Yun hatefully, thinking that Zhao Yun asked this on purpose. Hua Chunhua felt sorry for Zhao Xinhui, so she scolded, "What's wrong? Can't you see that my Hui is bleeding? Third daughter-in-law, you heartless woman. Look at what you've done to your little sister. You put such a big mousetrap in the house. Did you do it on purpose?" Hua Chunhua scolded like a shrew. Zhao Yun couldn't help but sneer. Even if she was unreasonable, she couldn't be so unreasonable. "Grandmother, you're wrong to say that. My mother put a mousetrap in the house. Who is she bothering? If it wasn't for little aunt sneaking in, would she have been caught? By the way, my mother put the mousetrap in the house because the snacks at home suddenly disappeared yesterday. She thought that it was either stolen by someone or eaten by a mouse. Today, she specially bought the largest mousetrap to kill the mouse that stole the snacks. By the way, why did Aunt come to my parents' room?" Zhao Yun's words had a deep meaning. In fact, they were meant for Zhao Xinhui. Zhao Xinhui blushed at Zhao Yun's words. She didn't know how to refute, so she said to Hua Chunhua coquettishly, "Mother, it hurts so much. I came in to look for Ping Hua Chunhua comforted Zhao Xinhui and scolded Zhao Yun. "Zhao Yun, are you saying that your aunt stole the snacks? What do you think your family has that your sister-in-law would want?" "Grandmother, I didn't mean that. I just found it strange. Little aunt said that if he was looking for Sister Ping, he just had to stand at the door and shout a few times or go to the door to take a look, right? Why did she come into the house? Did she think that Sister Ping was playing hide-and-seek with her?" When Zhao Yun said this, even Hua Chunhua felt guilty. Her Hui probably really came to steal snacks. "You wretched girl. You framed your aunt for stealing without any evidence. You're really rebellious." "Grandmother, how did I frame her? Don't casually accuse me of crimes. However, Auntie was caught in a rat trap this time. Next time, you have to be more careful. Don't casually enter my father and mother's house. I don't know what will happen. At that time, you will blame my father and mother." Zhao Yun smiled playfully. Zhao Xinhui was scared witless by this threat. How would she dare to come again next time? Shen Pan stood quietly and watched the commotion. She also felt a trace of fear toward Zhao Yun. Anyone who wasn't a fool would know that Zhao Yun deliberately set up to harm Zhao Xinhui. Chapter 458. After a while, old Zhao's men came back. They used a lot of strength to pry open the rat trap. Zhao Xinhui's leg could no longer walk. After prying open the rat trap, there was a lot of blood. Seeing Zhao Xinhui in this state, Hua Chunhua's heart ached terribly. She reluctantly invited the village's doctor over and bandaged Zhao Xinhui's wound. She also prescribed some medicine for her. In total, they spent a lot of money. Hua Chunhua's heart ached not only for the money, but also for her daughter. For the next few days, Zhao Xinhui would probably have to lie in bed and rest. She also had to prepare some delicious food for her every day. In the room of old Zhao's third branch, Zhao Ping covered her mouth and laughed. Little aunt deserved it. Unfortunately, she had run out to play and forgot to come back. She really wanted to see Zhao Xinhui being trapped. She had seen Zhao Xinhui's wound clearly. It was not light. Zhao Tianfu was secretly happy. In the eyes of children, people like Zhao Xinhui deserved that kind of punishment. However, Liang Jinqiao sighed and said, "Aren't we too much? Little aunt looks a little pitiful. Her wound is very deep." Zhao Ping said indifferently, "Mother, why are you feeling sorry for little aunt? She stole from our family. She doesn't even have a conscience." Zhao Yun smiled slightly. "Mother, we don't have any evidence that little aunt stole. She won't admit it either. This is just a lesson. If we don't teach her a lesson, she won't remember next time. Otherwise, she will have to continue stealing." "Sigh, that's true. I just didn't expect your little aunt to be the one who stole the snacks, Mother. What's so strange about that?" Little Ant is the most delicious person in our family, Zhao Ping said. Zhao Yun glanced at Zhao Ping. She did not know how she had the nerve to say that. In the entire old Zhao family, shouldn't the most delicious person be Zhao Ping herself? However, it was clear that Zhao Ping did not have self-awareness and did not think of him at all. Zhao Ping said. It was rare for her to praise Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun I didn't expect you to be useful sometimes. Zhao Yun's mouth twitched. She couldn't be bothered with Zhao Ping. Did she need to tell her if she was useful or not? Mother, the snacks are here. Hurry up and eat them. Don't be reluctant to keep them. You and father should eat more. At least have a taste, right? Zhao Yun picked up a piece of osmanthus cake and handed it to Liang Jinqiao. She said to Liang Jinqiao, Mother, eat this. This. Liang Jinqiao was a little reluctant. Hurry up and eat it. Unable to win against Zhao Yun, Liang Jinqiao had no choice but to take a bite. Yun, it's delicious. It's sweet and has the fragrance of osmanthus. Zhao Yun smiled and said, Of course. Mother, eat the whole piece. All right, Liang Jinqiao ate the rest of the cake. Her mouth was filled with the fragrance. The pastries in the city were indeed different. They were delicious. Zhao Ping was craving the cake as she watched from the side. She quickly took a piece and stuffed it into her mouth to chew. It's so delicious. Zhao Yun, how much do you have at home? Send some more over later. As Zhao Ping spoke, she wanted to take another piece and continue eating. Zhao Yun slapped her. One piece is enough. We'll wait for father and Tianan to come back to eat the rest. Don't eat everything by yourself. I don't have much left at home. I can't bring more for you. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.